Hey everybody, welcome to our reading of Stephen King's It. Tonight we have a fabulous cast that will all be on screen eventually. And so let's start with our first announcer.
I'm Eric. I will be action description and Georgie.
I'm Logan. I'm going to be Will or Bill. I don't know.
Figured out. I'm Nicole. I'll be Richie. Beat B.
I'm Angie and I'm Bev.
Hi, I'm Anne and I'll be Eddie.
Hello, I'm Travis and I am playing Stan.
Hi, I'm Kevin and I'll be Mike.
Hello, I'm George and I'll be Ben.
And I'm Chelsea and I'll be Pennywise the Dancing Clown.
Okay. It, written by Chase Palmer and Carrie Foganega, based on the novel by the legend himself, Stephen King. Open on rain, lashing a window pane. A piano plays somewhere off screen. Beethoven's Für Elise. Interior Will's bedroom. Yes, Will, not Bill. Day. A little boy gazes out into the bedroom, into the storm. Nervous, eager, sweet. Meet Georgie. You sure? You sure it's not too bad out there? Will, 13, his older brother, sits up in bed, propped up against a pile of pillows, surrounded by tissues and sheets and newspaper. He puts finishing touches upon paper boat.
Don't be such a wuss. I'd come with if I were dying. Now get the paraffin.
In the cellar?
Do you want it to float or not? Georgie, go on. The storm's not going to last forever.
Okay, Willie. Georgie jumps up obediently and goes. Cut to title card, October 1987. Interior, Will's house, day. Georgie hurries downstairs. He catches a glimpse of their mother, Sharon, in the parlor playing piano. An earthy beauty transported to another world while she plays. Interior kitchen, Will's house, day. Georgie's stomach sinks as he comes face to face with the cellar door. The only thing between Georgie and the monster in the basement of his imagination. It. Interior, Will's bedroom, continuous. A walkie-talkie squawks next to Will. The sarcastic walkie-talkie filtered voice of Richie Trashmouth Tozier, 12, his neighbor, filters through the plastic speaker.
Willie boy.
Will, annoyed, picks up the walkie-talkie while looking through his rain-blasted window.
Trash mouth.
They wave at each other. Richie, bug-eye glasses, turns the wave into a middle finger.
Thought you were sick.
I am.
Is it mortal?
Interior cellar doorway continuous. Flinging it open, Georgie ventures his arm into the dark void. He gropes around and finds the light switch. Nothing. Georgie snatches his arm back. Oh, balls! The power! The dark basement glares back at him, taunting. Here we do some sort of call from Will upstairs. That is code they will do with each other. This will come back to haunt us later. Oh boy. Interior.
What was that?
Interior's Will's bedroom continuous. Georgie responds with his own call from downstairs.
What was that?
Will coughs hard into his tissue. Perfect. Half patient, half joking.
Nothing. George and I are making a paper boat. Gotta go.
Wait!
Will turns off the walkie-talkie. Interior kitchen, Will's house, continuous. Georgie rubs the goose flesh on his arms. Getting it? Going to get it. Going in. He steels himself and plunges into the void. Interior cellar, Will's house, continuous. Georgie scrambles down 4 steps to the cellar shelf and shifts through junk as fast as he can. Shoe polish, rags, a dusty bag of colored balloons, a broken flashlight, 2 mostly empty bottles of Windex, and an old can of turtle wax. Georgie stops and gazes upon the cartoon turtle with hypnic wonder. Cut to POV of something lurking in the recesses of the basement, watching Georgie framed in the light of the doorway. Sensing this, Georgie snaps out of it and grabs the box of paraffin near the back of the shelf and hurries back up the stairs, slamming the door in our/its face. Interior, Will's bedroom day. Will melts a chunk of paraffin with a match in a ceramic bowl, then dips his finger into the hot liquid and smears the wax along the side of the boat. Can I do some?
Okay, just don't get any on the blankets or Mom will freak.
Georgie dips his finger and spreads it.
Mm.
Too cool. They finish up and Will gives the boat to Georgie.
There you go. She's all yours, Captain.
She?
You're the captain, ain't you? Captains call their boat she. Now put on your rain stuff or you'll wind up stuck in bed with your stupid brother.
They both grin, the cozy room full of cheerful brotherly love. Georgie kisses Will on the cheek, startling him. Thanks, Willie. He goes. Will looks to the rain-lashed window, piano still playing. He's suddenly filled with a sense of foreboding.
Be careful out there.
Exterior, Witcham Street day. A dead traffic light sways overhead, its dripping black lenses gazing back at a boy in a yellow slicker and red goloshes. Georgie races down the street past dark houses after his paper boat, which sluices along a gutter swollen with rushing rainwater. Rain taps on Georgie's hood, sounding to his ears like rain on a shed roof, a comforting, almost cozy sound. The buckles of his galoshes make a merry jingle as he goes. The boat whistles past a blockade of sawhorses, marked Department of Dairy Public Works, where a gouge in the blacktop sends it sweeping diagonally across a storm drain. Georgie races after, trying to grab the boat before it's swallowed up with all the rainwater. He slips and spills on the blacktop, crying out in pain. Ow! The paper boat surfs up to the drain, circles around twice, and goes in. Georgie looks ready to cry, and he walks over to the drain and peers in. Water filling into the darkness, a dank, hollow sound comes from within. Willie's gonna kill me.
Hiya, Georgie.
An old woman watches him from the kitchen window of a house just behind the drain. Cut to, oh my God, POV from the old woman's house. She turns her attention back to her cat, scraping out the wet innards of can of tuna into a plate on the windowsill.
You got something?
Oh.
It's a nice boat. Floats. You look like a nice boy. I bet you have a lot of friends.
3, but my brother is my best.
Your best. Is this his boat?
Actually not supposed to talk to strangers.
Oh, well, I'm Pennywise, the dancing clown. And so, Pennywise, meet Georgie. Georgie, Pennywise. See? Now we're not strangers anymore.
How did you get down there?
Me? Why, the storm, of course, just blew away. Blew the whole circus away. How'd you like to join the circus, Georgie?
Is there cotton candy?
Cotton candy? Oh, yes. Cotton candy, bearded women, and elephants. All the balloons a little boy could want. You like balloons, don't you, Georgie?
I sure do. Do they float?
Float? Oh, indeed they do, Georgie. Indeed they do. We all float down here. Don't you want to float?
Cut to the old woman's POV again. The cat devours its food. The old woman, pleased with his appetite, does not notice. Rack focus. A large puddle of blood where Georgie used to be, slowly being washed away by the storm. Smash cut to soaring percussive music crescendos over a wide shot of glacier-cut mountains. Then silence. Title card, June 1988. Exterior dairy, aerial scene. Pan off glacier-cut mountains to reveal the town of Derry, Maine, settled on a crosscut of the Penobscot River and Canduskeg Stream. It's a sturdy, picturesque northeastern town like any other. Its rough-hewn industrial past bleeding through a gentrified, decaying present. Tilt straight down to Hanlon Abattoir. Several multi-acre manure-filled sheep pens stand empty. One has 50 sheep ready for slaughter. A path leading from the pen grows the narrower as it feeds into industrial complex designed for slaughter. Exterior Hanlon Abattoir, outdoor pen, day. Leroy Hanlon, 50s, works to move the sheep into line while his son Mike Hanlon, 13, watches from behind him. Open the gate.
I'm sick of this, Dad.
Well, people need to eat. Now open the gate. Mike opens the gate.
How would you feel if you were one of them?
Leroy, haunted by this thought, answers gruffly. Humans ain't raised to be food. The sheep flood into a thinner pathway leading to the interior of the complex. Leroy watches them, as does Mike.
Every day, watching them stupidly walk into that killing pen. This isn't a normal kid's life. You won't even let me go to school.
Interior Hanlon Abattoir, slaughter pen, day. Leroy takes the cattle bolt, places it on the head of the first sheep. Woof! The sheep drops dead. Now, why would you want to be in public school with the rest of those people down below in Derry? Well, he hands it to Mike expectantly. Mike dispassionately takes the mechanism and approaches a sheep.
Because I want to be in boring classes with other boring kids and draw pictures in textbooks and play baseball and go to dances and grind.
He places it on the head of the next sheep, but can't bring himself to pull the trigger. Leroy does it for him. Woof! The sheep drops dead. I know, son, I get it. But you aren't like those people. We may work with sheep, but those people are sheep. Trust me. The last point Leroy believes in like a gospel. A school bell rings. Exterior Derry Middle School day. Doors fling open and rowdy 6th, 7th, and 8th graders spill out. Books are hurled in the trash. Papers strewn all over the recess yard. Summer is officially commenced. Swept up amongst this madness is Will Dumbro, 13. Guess Will. Handsome, gangly, redheaded, the memory of his brother still fresh. He walks with his dorky friends, all talking over each other. Eddie Kasprack, his EpiPen Jr. holstered in his medicine-filled fanny pack. Stan Uris, 12, a trim and tidy Jewish kid who dresses like a mini accountant. And Richie Tozier, the neighbor with the walkie-talkie, a comic book and video game freak with bug-eye glasses.
So how's it work?
What work?
Salon suckers!
Richie,
The ceremony, your bar mitzvah.
They sliced part of his penis off.
for serious, Stan, what happens?
I don't know. I read some stuff from the Torah and make a speech, and then suddenly I become a man.
Ugh, that sounds like a lot of work. I became a man by banging Ed's mom.
Richie, gross.
Oh, honey. Angle on group of fashionably dressed girls nearby. The bigger, heavier one of the group notices someone off screen.
There's the hoe bag now.
Pan to see Beverly Marsh, 13, a dazzling cloud of auburn hair and lovely green-gray eyes. Her clothes aren't as nice as the group of popular girls, but she holds her head high. You go, girl.
Oh my God, she's the one all the 8th grade boys talk about.
They say she gives the best BJs. Probably the only way she can afford those rags she wears. Give me your rings, Greta.
Beverly sees the girls as girl number 1 puts Greta's rings on her fingers. Sensing trouble, she turns around and ducks right back into school.
Hey, cock breath, come here.
Pan back to Will and his dorky friends. Eddie stops dead, pointing to...
Jesus, she's still here.
The rabbi's wife, sleepless and desperate, lurks on the edge of school property, scanning the throngs of departing kids with desperate eyes. Next to her, a front lawn marquee reads, "Remember the curfew, 7 p.m. Derry Police Department."
What do you think she's thinking?
Maybe she expects her son to just walk out of the school with the rest of us.
Yeah, right. Dorsey Cohen's been living in the home these last 3. Pause.
They're not
Can
gonna
you all
find
see me?
them.
It says not responding. My Zoom is not responding. Dorsey Cohen's been living in the home these last 3 weeks.
They're not gonna find them.
Sure they will. In a ditch. All decomposed, covered in worms and maggots and smelling like your mom's.
Richie is checked to the pavement by Travis Bowers, a sadistic tower of muscle. His glasses fall off and a pile of comics and video games magazines spill from his backpack.
Sorry, Cho, didn't see you.
Travis kicks the glasses away. Damn it, Travis. His thug sidekicks laugh. Snatch Huggins, 15, Patrick Hochstetter, 17, and Victor Chris, 15. One a lunkhead loaf, another a perpetually giggly, fire-starting sociopath, and the last one, a scrap and scab junkyard dog type. Victor grabs Stan's yarmulke and tosses it into the window of a departing bus. Andy, so much fuck.
Good luck getting your frisbee back, fuck nut.
Snatch burps in Eddie's face. Eddie wilts under the smell. Will scoops up the remains of Richie's glasses smashed by the bus.
You suck, Bowers.
Travis and his goons turn. They glare at Will menacingly.
You say something, Willie?
Everyone around them stops and watches, waiting for Will to respond. Eddie gives Will a look to shut it. He does.
Thought so. You get a free ride this year because of your little brother. But ride's over, Denborough. The summer's gonna be a hurt train for you and your faggot friends. Let's roll. We got lard ass to find.
Exterior emergency exit Derry High School day. A door opens by the dumpsters and out peeks my favorite character, Ben Hanscom, 13, the lard ass in question. How dare they? Making sure the coast is clear, he wears an oversized sweatshirt and a pair of girly, high-waisted blue jeans.
So, you gonna let me go by, or is there a secret password or something?
He turns to see Beverly.
Sorry.
He steps aside. Beverly tiptoes past, lighting a cigarette like a pro.
Sorry is not much of a password. Now, Kitty Hawk, that's a good one.
Ballyhoo?
Rip roar.
Barn burner.
Beverly smiles and offers Ben a smoke. He refuses. Good boy. He shrugs and blows a smoke ring in his face.
If you're worried about Bowers and his merry band of a-holes hassling you, don't. I saw them leave out the front.
Thanks.
You're the new kid, right? I'm
Beverly Marsh.
A little too quick. His ears turn red with embarrassment.
I just know because we were in social studies together in the same class, like the Constitution test and stuff. I'm Ben.
Bev smiles knowingly. It's clear he likes her. Ben notices a faint yellow bruise on her forearm. Bev notices him noticing.
I slipped in the shower. What's your excuse?
I fell on 3 boxes of donuts.
Beverly laughs.
Well, see you around, Ben from social class. Get laid in the shade.
You too, Beverly. Stay cool.
Ben watches her go. Totally smitten. Exterior, Denbro's house, day. Will walks up the driveway as
Thrusts his fist against the shit. He thrusts his fist against the post, but still insists he sees the ghost.
interior, Will Dunbar's house, Will's room. Will laces his shoes. As he leaves his room, he notices the door to Georgie's room is open. His father, Zach, lost in thought, notices him.
Hey, champ, going out to play?
Yeah, Dad.
Will looks like he wants to say more, but doesn't have the words to articulate it. Interior, Will's house, living room, day. Jumping down the stairs and rounding the corner, he sees his catatonic mother silhouetted by the midday light, sitting in the darkness, staring blankly at the piano.
Hi, Ma.
Growing accustomed to his parents' lack of communication, he sifts through a pile of unopened mail on the dining table and finds his report card. Opens it. All A's!
Got my report card.
He holds the paper limply in his hands. She doesn't acknowledge him and instead gets up and slides the doors shut to the piano room. Interior, Eddie's house, day. Eddie, Richie, Will, and Stan scramble in the front door like feral animals. An enormous 300-pound woman sits in the living room, 300 pounds, doing a puzzle on her own stomach. Sonia.
Hey, Mom.
Mrs. Kasprack.
Ma'am.
Interior, Eddie's kitchen, day. They raid the kitchen, stuffing Capri Suns, ding dongs, whatever snacks they can find into their backpacks. Mrs. Capsprack calls from the room.
Eddie, Bear, where are you boys off to?
Just my backyard, Mrs. K. We got a new badminton set.
Okay, just don't go rolling around too much on that grass, sweetie, especially if it's just been cut. You know how your allergies are.
Yes, Ma.
Isn't he cute, boys? So cute.
She wiggles her fat toes at him. He's mortified.
Cutest boy we know, Mrs. Kasprack.
Bye, Ma.
Fast as they can, the boys blow out of the front door after Eddie embarrassingly has to go kiss his mother. Exterior, street in front of the library, day. Will, Rich, and Eddie speed past the library. Interior, public library, day. All green globes, curving iron staircases, and shadowy charm. A librarian, Mrs. Sterrett, 50s, places a stack of books in front of Ben.
Isn't it summer vacation? I would think you'd be ready to take a break from the books.
I like it in here.
He glances at a newspaper behind her. Body found near canal, not that of Cohen Youth, Wharton announces.
Inspiring.
Mrs. Sterrett smiles sweetly at this boy.
Well, even with all this terrible disappearing of kids business, a boy should be with his friends outside having fun.
She starts stamping his books.
I'll try, Mrs. Sterrett.
Moments later, Ben slides the dusty old book to him. Its jacket reads A History of Old Derry by Branson Budinger. He flips through pages, through history, renderings of early Penobscot settlements, looting by the British in 1812, sawmill boom soon after, and then photographs like this one. Children at the old iron works in their Easter best holding baskets of eggs gathered around a circus wagon. Whatever they are looking at, entertained by, it is just out of sight. He turns the page and is greeted with a headline. Easter explosion kills 88 children, 102 total. Underneath, another photograph of the ironworks, or what's left of it, which isn't much. He turns the page to find a photograph. Townspeople surround a tree, pointing up at something in its branches with varied versions of horrified expressions. What is it? There in the branches. Ben turns the page, same picture, almost, because we're closer now to the object in the tree. Ben turns the page again, closer, another page closer, another closer. This continues until we're right in the branches with the decapitated head of a small child. Ben slams the book shut and pushes it away. He looks around the library, spooked. Mrs. Sterrett blithely stamps books behind her desk. Everyone goes about their business. But what about that pink Easter egg at the top of the stairs leading to the archives? Does no one else see it? Curious. Ben gets up from the table, grabs his postcard and stuffs it into his pocket, eyes on the egg, walks over. He picks the egg up, hefts it. Ben looks around, getting the uneasy sense he's being watched. He's about to turn back when he sees at the bottom of the stairs another Easter egg, yellow, with a red balloon tied around it. Ben goes down into the archives room. Even in the daytime, it's dark, so there's no telling what stalks the labyrinth aisles with high-walled shelves. Ben picks up the yellow egg, stares at it, considering.
That one is mine.
A small hand snatches the Easter egg from Ben, startled the hell out of him. He's just a boy. 8 disappear down the aisle. He's carrying an Easter egg basket and wears a knicker suit, as was the style at the beginning of the last century.
Wait,
Ben chases after him, loses him in the aisles, but a growing sense of fear as he rounds the corners. What was that? And that noises fade, shadows creep. Ben finds himself back at the beginning. Crack, like a dropped egg. Ben looks over at the stairs. Yolk oozes down a step.
Look what I found, Benny.
From the top, the boy takes a step down. Only his legs are visible, the rest of him obscured by the overhang. He takes another step, wobbly, like he might fall. A little more of him is revealed. No basket, so he uses the crook of his arm for his eggs. Not the best way to transport them, and crack! One more egg gone. He takes another step down, revealing his torso, and then another step, revealing the boy, headless. Little wisps of smoke curl up into the air, coming out of the gaping hole that used to be his neck. He takes another step and loses the other eggs. Crack, 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 crack. Ben takes off, running into the aisles. Boy chases. Ben screams, running as fast as his legs can take him, until he runs right into Mrs. Sterrett. I think it's when you leave. Crack. Ben hatches his breath, looks behind him. No sign of the headless boy or the eggs. Interior Dairy Synagogue Day. The rabbi and Stan read the Torah. Stan is repeating and leaning pronunciation of the words for his bar mitzvah. He starts to lose attention as he looks around the ornate room and the beams of light fingering out from the windows.
Are you paying attention?
Yes, sir.
Pay attention, son. This is important. This is about you becoming a man.
I am taking this very seriously, Rabbi.
The rabbi removes his glasses and looks at Stan. His thoughts carry him away.
Not everyone gets this opportunity, Stanley. My son, God bless him, might never get a bar mitzvah. Do you realize that?
The fuck? The rabbi squares up to Stanley, holding both of his shoulders.
We may never see him again. He may be dead now. And death is forever, Stanley. You don't come back from death.
Stanley nods as the rabbi starts to tear up. He pulls Stanley in close to him as if Stanley were his own long-lost son. Oh, now I get it. Stanley, pressed against the rabbi, can hardly breathe.
Rabbi, I need to go pee.
Rabbi cries.
Rabbi, can I go pee, please?
And the rabbi stops, distances himself from Stan again, and looks deep into his eyes.
Of course.
He lets him go. Oh God, not this part. Interior Dairy Synagogue downstairs. Moments later, Stanley walks down the cold, molding stone stairs to the basement of the synagogue. It's a rounded staircase that spirals into the deeper foundations of the building. He can't find the bathroom, but he does see the mikveh, a cleansing room for the women of the synagogue during their monthlies. He drips water and is lit by a spare light bulb. Interior synagogue mikveh, same. Stanley walks in knowing no one is watching him and unzips his pants to relieve himself in the pool of water. Wow. Suddenly he notices something bubbling from below. A naked woman, her pale white skin glowing from the light. He backs away and quickly zips up his pants. Get out of room 37, dude. The woman rises to the surface, exhaling a long-held breath of air. She dries the water from her eyes and looks at Stanley, not at all bothered by her nakedness or Stanley witnessing it.
You like looking at my body?
I
It's okay. I won't tell anyone.
She looks down toward her privates, still below the water.
Do you want to see the rest of me?
Stanley starts to back away.
I should probably be getting back now.
You're going to be a man soon, won't you? I'll show you mine if you show me yours.
She starts to get out of the water, Angle from behind her as she steps out of the water toward him. As she rises from the water, we see that her legs have been reduced to bones and gristle.
Come here, Stanley. Come float with me.
Stanley trips over himself, backpedaling. He turns around and jets out of the room just as the naked woman lunges. Exterior Neibolt Street day. Eddie walks down the street with crumbling asphalt that runs along the canal and the old train yard. Beep, beep, beep. He looks at his Casio calculator watch. Alarm has been set. Stops. Digs into his pocket. Pulls out a bottle of pills. Opens it and dumps a few into his hand, different colors. About to pinch one up, but can't shake the feeling he's being watched. He looks at the house on 29 Neibolt Street. Uh-oh. A plot infested with giant ratty sunflowers that hem in a abandoned boarded up structure with a rotted sloping facade that looks like Munch's The Scream, but no sign of anyone inside or out. Unnerved, Eddie quickly looks at his pills. He starts to walk again as he tries to put them back in the bottle when this startles Eddie. He drops his pills. They scatter all over the asphalt.
Shit!
He looks back over at the house on 29 Neibolt Street. Still no sign of anyone. But was the front door open before? Because it is now. Eddie quickly kneels, trying to collect his scattered pills and stuff them back into the medicine bottle.
Mom's gonna kill me.
He reaches for a red pill when someone else's hand picks it up instead. If you can call it a hand, more like a nubbin, which serves as an outpost in a sea of flaky flesh full of open sores and hanging scabs, glistening with pus and snot, probably a mix of both. It is the hand of disease. It is the preview of what is to come. And Eddie looks up and sees a leprous, tumorous hobo, a case study for everything awful ever, a wet sponge of sickness.
Think these'll help me?
Eddie squishes his face. He can feel his spittle stick and his skin absorb the messy microbes, especially as Hobo blows his nose into his hand, wipes it on the coat sleeve, and we see the hint of white ruffle underneath.
Think these'll make us float?
Hobo limps toward Eddie, dragging his dead leg behind him. Eddie scrambles back, not realizing he's making his way closer to the house on 29 Neibolt Street until he turns and sees an orange glow emanating from underneath the front porch as the sunset is happening just beyond the rotted lattice. Eddie stays fixated on that glow as the hobo gets closer and closer. We might lose Eddie here, but beep, beep, let's watch again. Eddie realizes that the hobo is right on him and takes off running into the backyard. He reaches the chain link fence, looks back at the house and sees Pennywise. He sees Pennywise on the back porch holding a bunch of string balloons in one hand as he waves to Eddie with the other.
Where you going, Eds? If you lived here, you'd be home by now.
Scared sick like me, Eddie begins to climb the fence, not an easy feat for someone of his weak and feeble nature. Falls to the other side, looks back, ready to see something even worse, but Pennywise is gone. Eddie pulls out his inhaler, takes a puff. Exterior Public Library later. Ben sits on his steps, postcard in his lap. He clicks a pen open and, brow furled in concentration, dashes off a haiku.
Your hair is winter fire, January embers. My heart burns there too.
Exterior Canal Street later. Ben is about to drop the postcard into a mailbox when has second thoughts. He holds it just over the slot. We see that it's addressed to Miss Beverly March, Lower Main Street, Derry, Maine, Zone 2. 4 zip codes. Ben closes his eyes, steals his courage, and lets go.
Hello, hot tits.
Travis, Snatch, Hochstetler, and Victor prowl toward him. Ben bolts, ass swinging back and forth like a girl. Oh my God. Travis and his gang take off after him. Exterior Kansas Street continuous. It's no contest. Ben rounds the corner and just makes the kissing bridge, a store-covered wooden bridge carved with thousands of hearts crossing right where the canal turns into wild, untamed barrens. Kendaskeg stream rushing below.
Gotcha.
Nice. They snag Ben and fling him against the railing. Travis flips up his sweatshirt, exposing his fat belly, and slaps it hard. Ben screams like a rabbit, whipsawing back and forth.
Look at that gut.
Sounds like a pig. Don't he sound just like a pig?
Victor squeals like a pig in Ben's face.
You better quit, I swear.
Travis pulls a buck knife from his jeans. Oh my. Ben's eyes go wide.
Or what? You go crying to mama? I'll give you something to cry about.
Ben looks around for help. A car comes slowly down the street. Travis hides the knife, pressing its steel against Ben's white belly.
Go ahead, yell. You'll be picking up your fucking intestines off your sneakers.
The old couple behind the wheel catches eyes of Ben, sees his tears, and step on the accelerator. Really? Ben sees a red balloon in the back seat.
Okay, tits, it's exam time. First question. When I say, let me copy during finals, what do you say?
Yes, I say yes, okay? Copy all you want.
That's good. Now, how can we make sure that sticks?
I don't.
In 2 quick motions, Travis slashes a bright red T in Ben's belly. Snatch and Victor laugh. Hochstetler pulls out his lighter and a can of hairspray. Are you kidding me?
Let me light his head on fire like Michael Jackson.
Oh my God. Love that wig. Hochstetler jettisons a fireball with his makeshift flamethrower just past Ben's head.
No, hold it. I'm going to carve my entire name on his cottage cheese-filled ass.
Ben is too shocked to scream. He looks over his shoulder at the stream behind him and then back at Travis's bloody blade.
Now say it with me. What comes after T?
Ben plants his heel in Travis's chest and launches himself backward over the railing, out of the grip of Victor and Snatch. Travis is knocked back on his ass onto the pavement. Good riddance. Exterior stream continuous. Ben tumbles down the culvert, fetching up hard against a fallen tree. He picks himself up eye to eye with a hubcap.
Oh, you're dead, tits!
Travis comes leaping over the railing with the knife. Victor and Snatch right behind him. Ben grabs the hubcap and hurls it, pelting Travis in the face. Hell yeah! Travis trips up and taking down Victor and Snatch with him. They all splash down to the stream where Travis loses the knife. Ben darts off across the water into the thicket of woods. Travis gropes around for his lost knife. Suddenly, hysterical.
My knife! God damn it, I lost my dad's knife!
Victor and Snatch help Travis search the stream, their hands passing right by where the blade is wedged under a log. Exterior the Baron's Day. Another boy's hand fishes around underwater and grasps upon something on Will as he pulls out a sneaker behind him. Richie and Stan throw branches, rocks, whatever into the middle of the stream, trying to dam it up.
Come on, Ed, get your ass down here and help.
Eddie paces the embankment with their shoes and socks and backpacks. He looks anxious.
No way. There's 60 million diseases in that stream. It's gray water.
What's gray water?
Tell him, Will, your dad works for the public works.
Will is studying the sneaker.
It's like where all the wash water and storm drain runoff goes.
Sewer water, pee and poop, and I'm telling you guys, you're splashing around in Derry's toilet.
Richie and Eddie shrug and continue building their dam.
Smells all right to me.
Guys,
Seriously, I don't know why we're down here. There's some poison ivy and some mosquitoes, and God knows what else could get us sick. Not to mention, we're all alone down here. What if we run into that psycho who's been picking off kids?
I overheard my mom talking to my aunt in Bangor, and she says it's a sex friend, some drifter, but no one from Derry. Couldn't be.
guys, shut up.
They all shut up and turn to Will, who is holding a sneaker.
What you got there, Willie boy?
Will comes sloshing up. He flips Richie the sneaker. Ew.
Look inside.
Richie does. Dorsey Cohen is written in black marker. Uh-oh.
Son of a.
Richie tosses it to Stan, who drops it in like a hot potato.
Stan, you idiot.
Sorry.
It's a big deal. It's just a slur.
Will has to fish it back out of the water.
It's Dorsey Cohen sneaker.
Shit. This isn't good, guys. This seriously isn't good. We should go.
How do you think Dorsey feels running around these woods with only one friggin' shoe?
If he's still running.
What if he's still around here?
They all lock eyes. Will and Richie come to a decision. They pick up sticks and start sloshing downstream where the shoe was found. Stan stays frozen.
Dorsey!
Dorsey.
Guys, stop. We're gonna get in trouble.
For what?
I don't know. Just evidence contaminating the scene. We should just mark where we found the shoe and leave an anonymous note to Chief Martin. My mom would have a major cow if she knew I was playing down here. I kid you not.
Shit, Eds. You get within 20 feet of a peanut and she has a whole herd. I don't want to think what she'll have. But if you come home with another kid's corpse.
It's not funny, Richie. It's so not funny. Will, please.
I'm with Richie. If I were Dorsey, I'd want us to look for me.
Fine. You guys can do what you want, but I'm going. I have no interest in seeing the muddy, mingled body of some.
Turns to see Ben stumble from the woods, all bloody. Eddie screams and sloshes out into the stream as he was so audaciously avoiding. They all see Ben.
Holy fuck. What happened to you?
Ben collapsed on the riverbank. The boys rush to his side. Exterior up Mile Hill day. Mike streaks past homes and businesses on his bike, riding into the center of downtown. He carries a package of meat on his bike. Interior Costello's Market day. Mike makes his delivery and gets cash from Mr. Costello, the grocer. Interior Dairy Savings and Loan day. Mike deposits the money and takes a free lollipop from the teller. Ooh. Exterior Dairy Savings and Loan day. Mike steps outside, throws up the kick, and pushes his bike out into the street. Will's crew whooshes past on their bikes. Will and Eddie, Stan, and Bloody Ben riding double.
Heads up, homeschool.
Eat me, Townie.
Exterior Kissing Bridge day. Travis, Snatch, Victor, and Hochstetler are still looking for the knife in the water under the bridge.
It probably got washed away, Travis.
Wow, Travis. Travis grabs Victor by his collar and growls in his face.
It ain't been washed away, it's been stolen.
Stolen by who?
Travis points up the embankment at Mike, biking home over the bridge. Exterior Country Road day. Mike bikes home, sucking on the lollipop when he notices something coming up fast behind him. Travis and his boys in a beat-up Trans Am. He starts pedaling faster, sees the Kitchener Ironworks sign ahead, and skids right down its path toward the ghostly Titanic ruin. Exterior field, Kitchener Ironworks day. Mike looks around for a place to hide, a bird spooking off from the twisted carcass of the factory building. The Penobscot River flows behind. Travis and his boys skid to a stop in the field. Machinery blocks their pursuit by car as they jump out on foot. Mike finds a smokestack laying in the shattered sections in the grass. He stares into its big black bore, picks up a loose tile, and pitches it in. It lands with a faint echo in the darkness. Interior Kitchener Ironworks. Moments later, Travis, Snatch, Victor, and Hochstetler search for Mike in the skeletal remains of the old ironwork structure itself, an open wound of twisted iron beams. Oblivious to any danger other than their own volatile potential, we get a sense that around every corner, some ominous figure is just ducking out of sight. Mike clocks them from inside the smokestack, the dodges around the perimeter of the ironwork structure. He hears a cellar hold, a yawning chasm on the edge of the ruins, sees a Derry Historical Society plaque. On these premises, an explosion took the lives of 102 souls, 88 children. Easter Sunday, 1906. May they rest in peace. Pennywise appears across the cellar, holds over his shoulder. When Mike looks up from the reading, Pennywise is gone. Mike looks back across the weedy field to the fence, his bike still leaned against it. It seems a million miles off. Exterior Kitchener Ironworks. Travis and the boys continue to explore the far side of the factory, sensing Mike may have made a run for the river. Exterior Kitchener Ironworks. Sensing an opportunity, Mike books it back to his bike. Interior Kitchener Ironworks. Hochstetler notices something off screen, walks toward it. Following Hochstetler, we see what he sees, a lone balloon, as if just leaving the grasp of a child, floating up in the air.
The fuck?
He looks back at Travis and the others who are sniffing out the weeds near the river. Exterior Kitchener Ironworks. Mike gets to his bike and starts pushing it up the hill. He looks back toward the factory. Travis and his boys still haven't come back to their car. Mike pedals home. Interior Kitchener Ironworks. Travis, angry they didn't find Mike, huffs back across the field, throwing a piece of scrap pipe he found against a giant wall. The entire factory vibrates with the gonging sound. He looks around and realizes Hochstetler isn't with them anymore.
Hochstetler, let's go. This place gives me the creeps.
No answer from Hochstetler. Annoyed, Travis motions for the others to follow him. Oh boy. Exterior Kitchener Ironworks. Travis and the others, minus Hochstetler, load up and peel off in the car. Angle over the cellar hold, Hochstetler peers in. He grabs a handhold and sways over its cavernous depth. Hochstetler's POV, nothing but darkness. Hochstetler takes out his lighter and hairspray, launching a fireball that illuminates the cavern below. Monoliths of rusted machinery, half submerged in stagnant puddles of black mud. And for an instant, a clown, Pennywise. Then darkness again. Hochstetler saw it, but doesn't believe it. He unleashes another fireball. For a second, we see the faces of dead children amongst the monoliths. Hochstetler isn't sure if he's seen right. He walks in, the hair raising on the back of his neck. Interior cellar hold same. Hochstetler carefully maneuvers his way down into the hold, his feet blindly tapping for purchase.
I'm afraid. You ghosts down here can't hurt me. Seen ghosts. Did them in their buttholes.
And out of the darkness,
Did they float?
he freezes. Did he hear that? Or was that in his head?
Who's there?
Hochstetler lights a ball of hairspray. It illuminates the walls behind him, but nothing far away.
There's no one down here. No one that can hurt me.
Eesh. He moves down deeper, lights the hairspray again, and for a second, we think we glimpse deeper in the shadows Pennywise.
Patrick, answer me.
Now, sure, he's heard something. Patrick stops. His breathing starts to rapidly increase. He wants to back up, but he's frozen. He lifts up his hairspray again, fingers shaking on the plastic nozzle. He lifts the lighter. Clink. The flint lights up the small flame, sputtering in the flowing air in the cellar. His breathing is arrhythmic, compressed.
Because down here, we all float.
He sprays. The flame spits out and out of the darkness. Pennywise, the clown, leaps into Hostetler, tumbling him into the cellar hold. He drops down the lighter and hairspray, which rolls down to the feet of a child. A dead child. Exterior, Keen's Pharmacy Day. The pack of boys, Will, Richie, Ben, and Eddie, come biking down the center street and swing into Richard's alley. They jump off, bikes clattering to the pavement.
Okay, Richie, you and
Ben,
Ben, stay here. We'll get some bandages and stuff.
Will and Eddie race in, leaving Ben and Richie in the alley, which is emblazoned with a colorful mural about the FBI's ambush of the infamous Bradley Gang, a celebrated slice of Dairytown history.
thanks for helping me.
You're not the only one on Bauer's shit list.
Ben nods, grateful for the company. He notices in the mural, in one of the shadows, a clown watches the ambush with glee. Interior, Keen's Pharmacy Day. Eddie snatches cotton balls and antiseptic and bandages off the shelf like an expert. He checks the prices.
Well, it's a lot of money. Will?
Well, puts out one crumbled dollar.
Oh my God. You got an account here, don't you?
You crazy. My mom finds out I bought this stuff for myself, and I'll have to spend the whole weekend in the emergency room getting x-rayed.
We need to do something. That kid looks like someone killed him.
They glance at the mirror where Mr. Keen 70s, the grumpy, eagle-eyed pharmacist, watches them like a hawk.
You consider a diversion?
They all turn to Beverly, who stands there sly and smiling.
Huh?
Your friend there. He's a thingy he always carries around in his cute little fanny pack, right?
My EpiPen Jr.?
Yeah, for when he spazzes out.
Don't spaz. Those are allergic reactions. Life-threatening allergic reactions.
Whatever. The point is, he's a track record, right? Of spazzing out.
I don't.
Ed, shut up. She's onto something.
Interior, same moments later. Day. Mr. Keen fills prescriptions. Eddie flops out of the aisle, clutching his throat. Will and Beverly run out after.
Oh no, Eddie! Eddie!
I knew I shouldn't have given him that granola, Mr. Keen.
You guys know the drill, don't you?
Will fishes the EpiPen from the fanny pack.
I'm a pacifist.
My dad doesn't like me handling needles.
Annoyed, Keen comes out from behind the counter. He kneels next to Eddie and takes the pen, plunging it into his thigh. Will screams Beverly as she shoplifts supplies and slips out of the store. Eddie opens his eyes, breathing normal.
Thanks, Mr. Keen. That one was a real shit kicker.
Exterior, Keen's Pharmacy Day. Will and Eddie race out laughing. Bev is waiting on the curb to meet them. She flips Will with stolen goods. Oh yeah.
Not bad for a bunch of amateurs.
She flashes a pack of stolen cigarettes and struts off toward her house. They love this girl. Will closes Eddie's mouth and they hustle around the corner into Richard's alley.
We got it.
He flips Ben his medicine. Stan runs up from behind, still looking blanched from his synagogue experience.
Shit, Stan. What happened to you? You look like you've seen a ghost.
Nothing.
He sees Ben there, looking like a train wreck.
What happened to him?
Interior, police station day. Angle on a close-up of the Cohen shoe placed on a desk in front of Chief Borton and Officer Bowers, Travis's hillbilly father. Will is alone in the room with them while interior police station, main bullpen, same. Ben, all bandaged up, looks on with Eddie, Richie, and Stan as Will speaks to the police officers.
Beverly was there?
Yeah.
And she stole this stuff from me?
Stanley wants Ben to shut up, but Ben is beyond excited.
Did she know it was for me?
I don't even think she knows you're alive, man.
Yes, she does.
What's going on in there?
What do you think? He's handling the kid's shoe. It's riveting.
Ben checks his Timex, cracked but working.
Takes a licking and keeps a ticking, huh?
My mom gave it to me so I wouldn't be late for curfew.
I think he means you, Big Ben.
The boys shove him playfully. Ben shoves back.
It's funny. Till the last week, I didn't know anyone knew my name.
You're pretty friggin' hard to miss.
Hey, guys, you think who kidnapped Dorsey might have, I don't know, got Georgie too?
If he creeps in storm drains, maybe.
Who's Georgie?
Will's little brother. Or was before your time.
Will won't talk about it.
Richie turns towards Stan, who's been unnaturally quiet this whole time.
Cat got your tongue?
What?
Why are you so quiet?
I'm not. I'm listening.
Will steps out.
Well,
Nothing. Thanks me for being a good young citizen.
so let's get out of here. Police stations always make me feel guilty of something.
Exterior Old Cape Street day. The five losers bike home. Richie, Will, and Eddie, Stan, and Ben riding double. Will skids up to a chain link fence by the rail yards. Eddie jumps off to take his usual shortcut. They all splinter off their different ways. Interior Beverly's apartment night. A slummy apartment over Lower Main Street. A Red Sox game blares on from somewhere down the hall. We track down the hallway and pan just as Beverly starts to unzip her pants and close the door. Interior Beverly's apartment bathroom night. Beverly finishes peeing. She reaches for toilet paper, but there isn't any. She rifles through the toiletries under the old-fashioned sink basin and looking for anything she can use.
Help me.
Beverly looks around for the voice, startled.
Help me, Beverly.
It comes from the sink drain above her head. She stands, her pants still around her ankles, leaning forward over the basin, looking down into the dark void.
Is someone there?
Nothing. Bev's eye peers down through the circle of light.
We all want to meet you, Beverly.
She gasps, backpedaling, pulling up her pants.
Who are you?
A single voice turns into a cacophony bubbling up through the ages.
I'm Matthew. I'm Dorsey. I'm Veronica. I'm Georgie. Come play with us down here. Come play with the clown. You'll float, Beverly. Oh, how you'll float.
Terrified, Beverly dashes out. Interior Beverly's apartment living room night. Bev finds her father, 40s, asleep in front of the TV, still in his janitor's uniform from Dairy Home Hospital. His tool belt is thrown up on the coffee table. She tiptoes over and steals the tape measure. Interior Beverly's apartment bathroom night. Beverly stands over the sink basin, tape measure in hand. The voice is silent. She unfurls the tape into the drain. Its tip disappearing into the void. Foot by foot, she snakes the tape into the drain until it's fully extended at 20 feet. She waits for a voice. Nothing. Slowly, she begins to reel the tape back in, counting down the lengths as it winds back in. 16 feet, 15 feet, 14 feet. At 13 feet, vicious blood coats the tape. And Beverly gasps and drops the measure. It goes clattering into the sink. The tape coiling into the snake, blood flickering everywhere. She stumbles back, tripping into the shower. Blood gouts up from the sink drain like a demonic ejaculation. Blood. Oh my God. Blood splatters the mirror, the wallpaper, bouncing off walls and covering Beverly. She screams and runs out the door. Interior Beverly's apartment living room night into her father, who comes charging up the hall. She screams again, recoiling away.
What the devil's gone into you, girl?
The bathroom. Daddy in the bathroom.
His arm shoots out and grabs her wrists like a vice.
Someone's peeking at you, Bevy? Hmm?
No, the sink. In the sink.
He stalks past, dragging her behind him. They step into interior Beverly's apartment bathroom night. Mr. March looks around, eyes wide, blood splattered everywhere, but the blood doesn't register with him. He shoves her against the wall hard.
You know, I hate getting rough with you. I never do when you don't deserve it.
He points back to the gory sink.
What's my tape measure doing out of my tool belt?
He steps over and grabs the blood-coated tape, clipping it onto his belt. Blood on his hands now, too. He doesn't seem to see any of it. Only Beverly can. She realizes this.
Answer me, girl.
He raises his hand.
The sink. I thought I saw a spider.
Uncertain whether he'll hit her anyway, she closes her eyes, prepares for a smacking.
A spider?
Yes, sir. I'm sorry for waking you.
He lowers his hand, gentle now, proprietary.
I worry about you, Bevy. I worry a lot.
Smoothing out her hair over her forehead. Ew. The blood on her face like fingerprint. This is when he scares her the most.
You know, why don't drink or smoke or chase after women like other fathers do?
Because you loved Mama?
Not just her, Bevy. You. You're almost a woman now, too. And I got me all I need right here at home.
He rests his forehead against hers, breathes in her scent, goes back down the hall to his game. Fuck! Interior detail on ceiling, night. Angle on a wet, dark spot as it grows on a white plaster ceiling. The first droplet of water forming. Slow motion as it breaks away and falls through space. Smash cut to interior Will's bedroom night onto Will's head. He doesn't stir, but when it is, followed by several others, finally he wakes, looks up, a leak in the ceiling. Will flips back his covers. Interior, bathroom hallway night. Will grabs a bucket from a utility closet and walking back sees Georgie's room door open. Interior Georgie's room night. Will enters, the room frozen in time. Georgie's toy box is open. Photographs and posters line the walls. Star Wars bed sheets, crisps, and military tight on the bed. A Lego turtle on the nightstand. Will picks it up. Will sits down, turtle in hand, and indulges in the sadness that has engulfed his home for months. The loss of his brother hitting him full force. He closes his eyes to fight back tears, but he can't. He cries for Georgie. Photographs from Georgie, illuminated by passing cars, seem to watch him from the walls. A shadow seems to stretch across Georgie's room from the doorway. Will looks up, but no one is there. Interior corridor, Will's house night. Will steps out of Georgie's room and finds dark fingerprints in the carpet. He leans down and touches one. Squishy and wet. They track down the dark staircase. Will, heart pounding, follows the wet footprints down the stairs, careful not to step on any of them.
Hello? Dad?
Interior downstairs, Will's house day. At the bottom of the stairs, Will finds the footprints led toward the kitchen where
Mom?
Will sees a yellow flash of something ducking around the corner. Startled, Will drops the Lego turtle, which smashes into pieces and scatters across the wood floor. Will hears Georgie's code call from the opening scene. It comes from the kitchen. Will looks back up the stairs, half expecting his parents to wake up. Nothing but an eerie silence. He gathers his courage and follows the wet footprints into your kitchen, Will's house. Day. Will steps in face to face with the cellar door, the door creaking closed, light snapped on behind it, footprints disappearing down into the cellar.
Georgie?
Will responds with his own code call. There is no immediate response. Will slowly approaches the door and reaches out of the handle, but stops with second thoughts. He starts backing away, too spooked to go down, when he hears a child weeping beyond the door. Then Georgie's code call coming from the basement. Interior cellar, Will's house day. Will opens the door, rickety. rickety stairs leading down into the darkness. The weeper somewhere in the recesses, along with the steady sound of a leak. Steeling himself, Will descends. He gets to his last few rungs and is thrown off for a moment and sees his reflection in the basement floor as it were a black mirror. He realizes the cellar has flooded. Will looks up toward the leak weeping sound and sees curled in the same corner where he had that opening POV. Why'd you make me go, Willie?
Georgie,
Help me, Willie. Come with me. You'll float. You'll float too. You'll float too. Will recoils. Georgie, Pennywise, glides over the water toward him, horrified. Will races up the stairs as Pennywise crosses the flooded basement and scuffles up the steps after Will, arms and legs splayed out like a charging crocodile. Will slams the door and Pennywise touches George's gross face. Interior, Will Denbrough's house. Night. Oh, Will's room. Will slams the door of his room and hides in his bed, panting. The doorknob starts to rattle. Drip. Will looks up, the leak from the ceiling getting worse. The doorknob rattles even more, shaking until it seems like it's going to fall off. Silence. Will approaches the door. He grabs a baseball bat and prepares to attack, swinging open the door, ready to swing. It's his father.
Will, easy. What's wrong? What's all the noise about?
there's a leak in my ceiling, and I went to check the cellar, and it's flooded. And
Zach looks at Will's ceiling.
Where's the leak, son?
Will points at it, but nothing registers for Zach. Interior Will's house, basement door. Moments later, Will and Zach stand over the stairwell. Zach turns the light on and walks down, much to Will's horror, into a puddle of water.
Dry as a bone, Will. Sure it wasn't just a dream?
Will holds himself, too freaked out to speak. Exterior edge of the Barrens morning. Will, Stan, Richie, Ben, and Eddie stand at the edge of a police cordon. Beyond, Chief Borton and a line of police officers, sheriff deputies, and volunteers sweep the woods with bloodhounds.
But we got a project we're working on out there.
Barrens will be off limits for now, kids. Go on into town and play there.
They'll look on in disappointment, then pick up their bikes and head back into town. A dog picks up a scent near a Morlock hole, a cement cylinder that sticks about 4 feet out of the ground with a vented iron manhole covered stamped Dairy Sewer Department. A drone comes from somewhere deep within. Officer Butch Bowers arrives with news for Chief Borton.
We got another one, Chief.
Another what?
Kid gone missing.
Dear Lord, who is it?
One of my son's friends, Patrick Hotstiller.
Hand over to reveal Travis, waiting meekly inside Officer Bowers' squad car.
The family notified you directly?
Officer Bauer nods for Travis to approach.
Yeah, then I did a little investigating of my own. Tell him what you told me, boy.
Travis doesn't know where to start.
Tell him, damn it. Tell him who you last saw him with. That Negro boy from outside town. The ones who run the Avatar.
Interior, Beverly's apartment morning. Ben's haiku is propped on a nightstand. Beverly stirs awake. Her sheets and pillows are smeared with blood, her face crusted with dried gore. Groggy and nearly sleepwalking, she sits up and walks out without taking stock. Interior, Beverly's bathroom morning. Beb opens the door. Wiping her eyes, she approximates the sink, bends over to wash her face and eyes. With the first crust of blood removed from her eyelids, she looks into the mirror and lets out a choked, exhaling gasp of horror. Surrounded by brown and crusty wallpaper is Beverly's realization that the blood was not a dream. Interior, Hanlon Abattoir. Day. Puddles of blood seem to lap like small waves toward us. Pan up to reveal Mike and Leroy sweeping the blood and water out of the slaughtering pen. Officer Bowers, followed by several police officers, enter the facility.
Leroy Hammond,
Leroy turns and notices the officers for the first time.
we need to bring in your boy for questioning.
For what?
Police business.
Mike turns to his father, frightened, shaking his head. We need a lawyer? He looks at Mike, searching for any indication that what this could be about. Travis appears in the distance, and Mike instantly knows.
Dads, it's
Officer Bowers roughly grabs Mike by the neck and starts to lead him out. Jesus.
Let's go, boy.
Hey, no need for that. He grabs Officer Bowers by the arm. Bowers quickly and excessively puts Leroy in a wrist lock and throttles him against the killing pen fence. Leroy moans in pain. Oh!
Search this place now. It's a perfect place to hide a body if you ever need to.
Officer Bowers looks around in disgust. Travis smiles from the safety of distance and local power. This ain't right. You need a warrant. You can't just... Leroy seizes his arm, then his chest, then crumples to the ground, losing consciousness in the puddle of blood.
Dad!
Mike tries to rush for him, but he is forcibly escorted to a waiting police car. Other officers look to Bowers for direction. Officer Bowers turned Leroy over.
Call an ambulance.
Exterior Ben's house bedroom day. All of the boys have gathered in Ben's room, an aimless summer morning with nothing to do. They play with his junk and are You gotta be kidding me. And are generally turning his room over. It doesn't make it better. Will examines a pair of walkie-talkies not unlike his own. Oh my God.
Whoa. What's the history project, Benny boy?
Junk. Anyway, Richie notices that Ben's walls are covered in Xerox copies and historical drawings, all relating to Derry's history.
Oh, when I first moved here, I didn't have anyone to play with or anything. So I just started hanging out in the library.
All the boys turn to look at Ben. Seriously, dude?
The Reading Rainbow.
He's a regular Geordie LaForge.
Oh boy. Stan takes a closer look.
Why is it all like people getting killed and missing kids and stuff?
I don't know. There's just a lot of that here. Been that way since the original settlers.
Will, who was more interested in a Viewmaster, turns and looks at the walls now, sees a copy of an old-timey document with 300 signatures, incorporation of the Township of Derry.
Move a copy of the town charter. Seriously?
Derry started as a logging and beaver trapping camp before it was officially on any maps.
Still is. Am I right, boys?
Oh my God. But God, that's in the script. Beverly shakes her head. Bill throws him a look. Oh, Bill.
300 people signed the charter that made Derry. A month later, they all disappeared without a trace.
The entire town?
The people, the livestock, everything that was alive.
Holy fuck.
Jesus.
Are you supposed to be Jewish?
Stan thumps Richie in the stomach while still paying attention to Ben.
People in neighboring settlements thought it was Indians or something, but there was no sign of an attack. The only clue was a well house that was burnt down to charcoal.
Shit, maybe we could get Derry on Unsolved Mysteries.
Ben points out an old map that was a translucent modern map drawn by hand laid over it, his tracing coordinates.
It was here, right on the corner of what's now Witcham and Jackson.
Isn't that where Will's brother Georgie...
Richie slaps Eddie in the back of the head. His fierce eyes castigating Eddie for not thinking before speaking. Eddie confused. What?
Yeah, that's where Georgie disappeared.
Job numbnuts.
I'm sorry, I didn't.
Don't worry about it. Why do you have all this stuff anyway? I mean, what are you gonna do with it?
Will can't take his eyes off of all the information.
I don't know. It was just a way to kill time, I guess.
It's summer, Dorcas. If you're gonna kill time, do it right.
Exterior, Bassy Park Quarry rope swing later. Will, Richie, Eddie, Stan, and Ben, stripped to their tighty whities, except Ben, who is still has a t-shirt, stands in a line staring at the edge of a rocky outcropping in a quarry turned pond. The black water of the pond foreboding, endless.
Who's first?
Eddie.
Screw that.
I'll go.
Ben, with those cuts you have on your chest, I'm not sure if getting in this water is.
Will, you stop with the gray water shit. You make it seem like any water we get in is swimming like, a shit house, an outhouse.
What's gray water?
Don't get him started.
I'll go first.
Too late.
The boys turn around to see Bev in a one-piece summer dress. She pulls off the dress quickly, turn down to her underwear, sprints off the edge, and jumps into the water. Boom! Cannonball! The boys, not wanting to be showed up by a girl, take one last look at each other and jump in. Splash, 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 splash! Richie dives under the water and swims beneath the kicking legs of all his friends. A shark's POV. He doesn't see Pennywise floating in from the depths beneath him. On the surface, Ben yelps, something yanking his leg. Richie surfaces.
Very funny, Richie.
I thought so.
Something yanks Richie's leg too, hard. He and Ben wait for whoever it was to surface from the inky water. Ben sees Will, Bev, Eddie, and Stan swimming back toward the edge of the quarry. They scream and laugh and swim their asses back to land. Exterior, Bassy Park Quarry shore later. The six of them now sunbathe on the rocks at the edge of the pond. Their eyes are closed, soaking in the vitamin D, except Ben, who can't take his eyes off Beverly's tanning body. Will sits up and looks out at the water. It is so black it seems otherworldly. Not breaking a stare from the water, he addresses the group.
Guys ever feel like there's something wrong with Derry? Like it's, I don't know, haunted or something?
Haunted how?
I keep thinking about Ben's walls.
Ben, happy to have something else to focus on other than Beverly. Who looks at Will?
You mean how all sorts of disasters and disappearances and stuff keeps on happening here?
Yeah. It's strange.
Dan opens his eyes and joins in.
Like any town, right? That's been around long enough. Bad stuff is bound to happen. I mean, have you read the Torah?
Have you? Richie turns over to work on his back.
Boys, you're ruining my sunbathing vibes with all this chitter chatter.
Beverly, eyes still closed, places a cigarette in her mouth and lights up. Ben notices her hand shake as she holds the cigarette in her mouth. The smoke swirls and dissipates over them.
You've been seeing things, Will.
Will whips his neck to Beverly. He can't tell if she is making fun or if she's seriously asking him for a bridge.
If I tell you guys something, you won't think I'm crazy?
We already know you're crazy, Will. No judgment here.
I saw Georgie last night. Only it wasn't him.
Like in your dreams?
No, in my house. He tried to get me to go into the basement with him.
That wasn't Georgie. That was your neighborhood sex offender making a house call.
Shut up, Richie. It wasn't just him. I saw this other. I don't know.
What did you see, Will?
The clown?
Will, Stan, and Eddie look at Ben.
Yes. That's what it was. A scary looking clown. And it had these teeth.
I saw something too in the basement of the synagogue.
I take it back. I'm judging all of you, and you are all friggin' wackos.
Beverly, still laying there, exhales a long trail of smoke.
I need to show you guys something.
Exterior, Lower Main Street day. The 5 boys and Beverly stand outside her slummy apartment building. She looks frightened to go inside.
My daddy will kill me if he finds out that I had boys in our apartment.
Isn't he at work?
Sometimes he comes back for a nap.
We should leave lookouts. Ben, Stan, can you?
Ben is ready to protest, then succumbs, crestfallen.
What does he look like?
My daddy? Mean. Like a drunk.
Will, Richie, and Eddie go with Bev. Interior, Beverly's apartment day. Bev opens the door, it creaks open. The apartment seems to be empty. Afternoon sunlight illuminating floating dust motes. She scouts around and lets them in. Will, Richie, and Eddie follow her to a closed door at the end of the hallway. The bathroom door.
In there.
Can you give me an indicator of what I'm about to walk into?
You'll see.
I hope it's not Egg McMahon. I just won the Publishers Clearinghouse $10 million sweepstakes, but if it is, you really didn't have to go through all this trouble. You could have just brought Ed to the quarry.
She has no intention of going in. Will pushes past Eddie and opens the door.
Oh God, oh God.
The blood, still there, faded into maroon clouds on the mirror and wallpaper. Richie reels back into the hallway with Beverly. She looks from Richie to Will.
You really see it?
It looks like someone slaughtered a pig in here. Or a parent.
What happened?
Bev is so relieved she almost cries.
The sink. It came out from the sink. My dad couldn't see it. I thought I was going crazy.
Will goes to Eddie, who still stands frozen in terror.
You okay, Eddie? Eddie.
He snaps to it, suddenly more composed, resolute even.
Ed, go outside. Get Ben and send him in here.
Eddie just nods and walks out the door.
You see it, don't you, Richie?
Richie nods.
Can't leave it like this. Let's clean it up.
Interior, Beverly's bathroom day. Will, Richie, Ben, and Bev clean like grim elves using a bucket of hot water, Ajax, and some cloth rags, Francis. Slowly, the blood washes out. Exterior, Beverly's apartment day. Stan and Eddie stand lookout on a curb below.
What's taking them so long?
There was a lot of blood.
Eddie shakes his head. Something disturbing catches his attention. Interior, Beverly's bathroom day. Will pours the last of pink bucket water down the bathtub drain. The bathroom now clean as it ever was. The bucket is filled with blood-stained rags.
All I'm saying is maybe there's some weirdo going around Derry dressed like a clown, like the Joker in the Dark Knight comic.
Oh, God.
The black job who likes to dress up and just kidnap kids.
Okay, so how did he put Georgie in my basement?
Or blood in my sink.
I don't know. Who knows how crazy people do things, right?
Pebbles hits the window. Richie goes over, sees Eddie and Stan jumping up and down. The sound of footsteps come up the hallway. They look at each other. Interior stairs to Beverly's apartment day. Mr. Marsh fumbles with his keys outside the door. Interior Beverly's apartment day. They race to the apartment to a window that opens to fire escape into the alley. Bev throws it open, and Will, Ben, Bev, and Richie climb through.
You okay?
I am now. Thanks to you guys.
The window slams shut behind them just as Mr. Marsh enters the hallway. He sees a bloody rag on the counter and picks it up, wiping his sweaty face, smearing blood all over it. Interior Police Station, Chief Borton's office day. Chief Borton and Officer Bowers hand Mike's mom a copy of Mike's signed statement. He nearly has to defend himself from her anger.
Ma'am.
His father is in the hospital in critical condition. You're supposed to be protecting the children.
Ma'am, we're just doing our job, but he's free to go home with you now.
He damn well better be.
Officer Bowers leans into Mike.
You got lucky, boy. Could have been you who disappeared. Be careful next time creeping around old places like that.
I told you he chased me there.
Mike nods to Travis Bowers, who is sitting shamefully in an office next door to Chief Morton's office.
Oh, and he will be punished. Don't you worry. I swear on my belt buckle he will.
Officer Bowers smiles, looks at Travis, whose face reveals he knows he will get a whooping that night.
Come on, Mikey, your father needs us.
Mike turns and follows his mom obediently out of Chief Borton's office. Cut to title card over the Penobscot River, January 4th, 1988. Exterior dairy aerial sunset. A smoky haze obscures the setting sun and rough-hued mountains. Exterior, Kansas Street dusk, finally. Crack! A mailbox explodes. The Trans Am speeds off. The boys inside it whooping and laughing their heads off. The car swings up to another, and Travis Bowers leans out of the window, throwing in a sizzling M80. He shuts the lid, pulls back into the passenger seat, and screams to the driver, Victor.
Go, go, go!
Victor hits it, and they roar off. Snatch and Moose Sadler, 16, scrunched like sardines in the back seat. They all look back to see. Crack! The mailbox explodes. The boys share a hip flask, a bottle of Southern Comfort.
God, I love the fourth.
It's my turn. Pass one back.
Travis fishes the bag full of M80s and bottle rockets, and they blow another mailbox. Crack. Interior hospital room dusk. Mike enters sheepish. Leroy is in bed, full of tubes to bleeping machines. He looks decimated. Mike's mom is on her way out.
You'll be okay.
Mike nods. He squeezes Mike's shoulder. She goes, Mom, tell you what's the what?
Doctors say it's inside your bones and spreading.
Mom's gonna need you to be strong, Mikey. Help keep the abattoir running.
I'll try.
You do or you don't do. No try.
It's my fault.
Stop that, Mike. There's no one to blame here. It's nature taking its course.
You're coming home though, right?
Leroy looks at his son, sadness etched in the lines of his sullen face. Pull up that seat. Leroy indicates a chair next to the bed. Mike pulls it up and sits next to his dad, leaning in close. There's something I never told nobody, not even your mom. Something that I think you should know in case.
In case what?
Leroy coughs again. Mike can smell the creeping death coming from his father's insides. When I was about your age, me and my buddies would go to this place along the canal. Flashback exterior, the Black Spot Day. Young Leroy, 13, and young Dick, 13, sneak up along the rail of the canal outside a rambunctious, crowded little gin joint. Only black folks stand in line to get in, music and revelry blaring from within. The two boys look at all the pretty girls and snazzy men withal. Interior hospital room, dusk.
Dad, I'm responsible. You don't need to tell me some long tale about drinking and driving or safe sex. I'll take care of things.
Leroy squeezes Mike's arm, frustrated, harder than the thought he could squeeze. I'm not done. Ugh. This isn't about you, Mike. It's not even about me. It's about dairy. This town is like poison.
Dad?
Shut up and listen to me. There was one night in 1960. I remember because it was August and Chubby Checker just dropped the twist. Flashback interior, the Black Spot night. A hot, hot night. The little snack filled up to the rafters with people dancing, twisting, enjoying themselves. Young Leroy and young Dick push their way through the sweaty bodies to a window. They find some floaters on the sill there and drink them up. Out of the window, Leroy notices men in white robes. Oh God. Stalk from the woods and light torches. Exterior, the Black Spot night. The men in white robes, the main legion of decency, barricade the door with a cart and light the timbers on fire. Interior of the Black Spot Night. Smoke starts to take over the place. People panic, stampede the doors. They don't budge. Women, men are crushed against the hot door as people push against them to get out. Young Leroy amongst them. He's grabbed by his friend Dick, who pushes him out the window. Exterior Black Spot Night. Dick and Leroy go stumbling and coughing from the blazing shack, their eyes burning with smoke. Blinded, they trip over the edge into the dark waters of the canal. Interior hospital room night. He seems to float off into the reverie. Worst thing I ever seen. And the smell, that awful smell of cooked flesh. Somehow we ended up in the water, floating in the blackness. I could still hear all them screams. It wasn't until I surfaced that I could see the truth of it all, of Derry.
What truth?
I saw something, Mikey, through the smoke and the burning, something I can't even really explain. But it was there, Dickie. He saw it too.
What did you see?
A nurse walks in with a chemo bag.
Oh, Mr. Hanlon, you ready?
Mike and Leroy lock eyes. Leroy leans in, whispers so the nurse can't hear. I saw what was really responsible for that fire, Mikey. Not the Legion. See those white boys? They were there, but there was something else orchestrating them. Had them all in a fit and frenzy, moved to his whims. This thing, I don't even know how to describe it. Exterior canal beside the Black Spot Night, a balloon surfaces from the waters, bringing with it Pennywise. It pulls him over to a survivor swimming in darkness, and Pennywise pounces, dragging the victim under the water. Leroy and Dick see this and are horrified. They begin swimming back to the edge when a balloon surfaces nearby, again pulling Pennywise, his face smeared with blood from the water. It drags the clown toward them. They climb out of the canal just as Pennywise gets within striking distance. Instead, he pounces on a woman there, dragging her under, kicking and screaming. On the shore, Leroy rests in Dick's arms. The Black Spot now just a heap of smoldering char. The ground's littered with burned up bodies. Interior hospital room. Mike looks at his father, terrified.
Mr. Hanlon?
Be careful out there, son, especially by the canal. The water and dairy is no place for no one, especially a youngster like you. The nurse hooks up the chemo bag to Leroy's IV. She turns toward Mike.
You might want to wait outside.
Mike hesitantly leaves the room as she pricks the needle into his dad's catheter, Leroy wincing. Interior hospital corridor night. Mike steps out in the corridor. The hospital seems eerily dark, empty, and quiet. A light strobes down the long hall. It draws Mike to it like a moth to a flame. He turns the corner and sees a fire alarm pulled, white greasy fingerprints on the lever. Wrong lever. Anyway, emergency lights strobe along the walls. No sound of an alarm. No doctors or nurses anywhere. Suddenly, at the end of the long corridor, a sheep trots out from the door. Staccato in the strobing light. It stops, looks at Mike, then trots into another door. Mike starts after it, baffled. He approaches the door the sheep walked into, a stream of water flooding out onto the floor. He stops, the water rushing past his feet. He looks back behind him, the normally lit hallway now far, far away. He hears the sheep just inside the open door. He enters through it without noticing the stencil on the glass of the door. Dairy counter corner. Interior hospital coroner's office. Mike enters a windowless bunker, like a room with all the metal corpse lockers, metal autopsy table, and a sink in the corner. The emergency lights still strobing. The sheep is nowhere to be found. Instead, Mike finds in the middle of the floor under the autopsy table a drain gurgling up water, the source of the flooding out into the corridor. Slam! The door slams behind him. Mike runs over to it, jiggles the lock, but it won't open. Behind him, in between flashes of the strobe, Pennywise appears and then disappears. Mike stops dead, sensing its presence like he did at the old ironworks. He slowly looks back as one of the corpse locker doors creaks open. Mike opens his mouth to scream, but nothing comes out. He's pounding on the door.
Somebody help! Let me out! Dad? Mom?
He looks over his shoulder while continuing to bang. The tray inside the open locker slowly slides out like a tongue from a mocking black mouth. On it, under a white sheet, is a corpse. Mike dares look back just as the sheet catches and the corpse is uncovered. It's none other than Patrick Hochstetler, whose legs and arms up to the elbow have been bit off. Smaller child-sized bite marks cover his body. Mike jumps to a corner where he grabs a saw to defend himself. Water spews up from the drain with a more and more pressure, a pool now covering the floor, the edge of which seeps toward Mike. Mike climbs up on a chair, afraid of the water, now with a full view of Patrick's mutilated body. Just then, Patrick turns his head and looks at Mike.
It's killing your daddy, Mikey. Eating him away.
Shut up.
A worm inside a rotten apple. We're all apples, Mikey. All of us. You know the thing about apples.
Stop it.
Patrick's expression turns into a horrific, fearful grimace.
They float.
No.
The walls start to slide in as if the room were shrinking like Star Wars. The walls shepherding him toward Patrick's talking corpse. Mike reaches behind him, scraping at the walls, looking for anything with purchase. His hands find the fire alarm and he pulls it. This time the alarm sounds and the strobe lights freeze. The room now fully lit. Mike looks back, calipers raised, and sees the locker doors closed again. No water on the floor. The door opens behind him. It's the coroner, Chief Borton, and Patrick's parents there to identify the remains of their boy. Mike is nearly catatonic. He holds onto the chief, catching his breath.
What are you doing here, son?
Speechless and terrified, Mike races past them out of the hospital. Exterior Old Cape Street night. Mike walks home, distraught, mindless to the traffic. He is nearly hit by a car as he storms away from the hospital. A Trans Am turns a corner behind him, headlights on high beam. It stops. Mike turns, sees, realizes who it is, and he runs. Interior Trans Am same. Travis climbs out of the passenger seat and over to the driver's seat.
Move.
Victor gets out and runs around the car.
Hey, ain't that the little shit your dad gave you a whooping over?
Furious, Travis slams on the gas pedal. POV of car, giving chase to Mike.
I'm gonna run him over.
Exterior Derry side street same. Mike runs for his life, jumping fences, turning corners, and running through pedestrians. Travis's Trans Am can't always speed due to the amount of people on the street. Just when he's about to get within hitting distance, boom! The first of a long series of fireworks explodes over the Derry sky, illuminating the street in a series of flashes. Exterior Ben's house rooftop night. Will, Richie, Stan, and Eddie have gathered on Ben's roof to watch the fireworks. Boom! The boys ooh and ah while stuffing their faces with an holy array of mass snacks meant to rot teeth and discolor the fingers with multicolored MSG-filled flavor powders. Richie, with sticky fingers, picks up a walkie-talkie.
Benny boy, don't forget the ranch dressing.
The walkie-talkie squawks back.
Hey, Richie, eat a bag of dicks.
Boom. Seriously, boom. Again, the sky erupts in dazzling light and color and continues to with fireworks throughout until the end of the following scenes. Beverly, then Ben, appear from one of the dormer windows leading to Ben's bedroom with sparklers, bunches of bottle rockets, Roman candles, and small firecrackers.
You called that a firecracker? This is a firecracker.
I opens a Holmes, revealing several M80s. The boys collectively, whoa, with excitement.
Nice stick, Richie. How about this?
He opens their backpack, revealing mortar with 6 turrets.
Holy shit.
Think that could take it down?
How we don't even know what it is what they're looking for.
That's a good name for it, actually.
What?
It.
They said it and they nod in agreement.
Think it depends.
Beverly looks up from a spread of fireworks laid out on a red, white, and blue Captain America towel.
On what?
What we're scared of. It was Georgie's corpse for me, 'cause that's what I care about. It's a naked woman for Stan because he's so afraid of.
Getting laid!
Only because your mom.
You really want me to start talking about your mom? Don't get him started, because he won't stop.
Back to point. It showered Beverly in blood because
Because blood always freaks a girl out.
Wow, you really don't know shit about girls, do you?
Full smiles.
It showered me in blood because I just got my period, and
Eddie recoils in disgust while Beverly's mind goes to dark places, to her father, and what being a woman might mean to him now. Ew. Ben and Will both notice this change in her demeanor.
I didn't need to know that.
it's everything and anything. All our nightmares, all evil, wrapped into one.
Into one freaky looking clown, you mean? That's the only form it seems to repeat.
Ironic, right? Something that's supposed to make kids laugh, actually being super freaky.
It makes sense, though. If it's killing kids, a clown is the perfect cover.
adults just ignore them. But kids, like your brother Georgie,
I want to get closer. See their tricks.
Just when Will sees Mike running for his life down the street.
Shit, isn't that
Homeschool!
They look where he's running from and see Bowers' gang in the Trans Am delayed by foot traffic.
They're gonna cream him.
At least it won't be our problem for a night.
that's cowardly, Stan.
Beverly's right. We can't always hide from them. We need to do something.
How?
with these?
Will points to their arsenal of fireworks. Oh, yeah. Exterior Ben's neighborhood. Minutes later, Mike runs past the families and kids distracted by the fireworks display happening overhead. Bowers' gang almost on him in the Trans Am. Mike cuts between a lawn, between two houses, hopping a fence. Sounds like Ferris Bueller. Bowers hits the gas and fishtails it around the next block to cut Mike off. Will and his gang see this and take a shortcut of their own. Exterior Nebo Street, night. Nebo Street, moments later, night. Mike spills out between lawns on Nebo Street, a dead end. There is a small pier that cuts into the canal with an old abandoned lock house at the end. The Trans Am roars into view at the other end of the block. Revs the engine. Interior Trans Am night. Travis is focused on Mike, who is frozen in the street.
Got that little fucker now.
Another boy runs out with him. Will.
Is that wussy Denborough?
This night just keeps getting better and better.
Travis slams on the gas. Exterior Nebo Street night. Tires screeching. Travis guns it straight for Mike and Will.
Don't move.
You nuts?
Trust us. We're to help you take these jerks.
We?
Looking to the side, Will has a walkie-talkie.
Not yet. Not yet. Now!
Between the Trans Am and Mike and Will, Ben and Richie heave their shoulders into a large steel dumpster filled with construction material. They push it down a driveway that leads to the street. It creaks, starts to wobble, and then move down the incline. When it hits street level, though, the gutter stops it from going into the line of the Trans Am.
Fuck.
Shit. Abort! Abort!
Abort? What does that mean?
Run!
They're about to dodge the car when Beverly jumps out, firing off a 6-barreled mortar, handheld, aimed horizontally at the car. Thump! The recoil throws her back while the rocketing projectile explodes in front of the Trans Am. Travis and the boys shield their faces, screaming as the front windshield explodes.
Whoa.
Thump! This one knocks her to the ground as the second mortar flies right toward the Trans Am. Travis yanks the wheel to the left as the firework explodes on the side of the car. He slams on the brakes as Victor, Snatch, and Moose are flung forward. Victor smashes his head on the dashboard.
Is that girl for real?
Real as it gets. Now, Stan and Eddie.
Eddie and Stan charge from behind a hedge. Lightning bottle rockets aimed at the car. Travis and his boys have to duck for cover as one of the rockets zings through the car.
Those little motherfuckers. Get out. Get out.
The older boys climb out of the windows, ducking and covering their eyes from the onslaught of bottle rockets and Roman candle projectiles. Crouched behind the truck, Travis lights up 3 M80s with clown faces on them and tosses them like grenades at Beverly, Stan, and Eddie's positions. The M80s blow huge fist-sized holes in the blacktop, bigger than could possibly be legal, exploding gravel, peppering the kids, stunning them for a moment.
Holy hell. What kind of gear do they got?
I don't want to stay and find out.
Ben and Richie race up from behind, letting loose another barrage as they pass Bauer's gang and the Trans Am, giving cover as the literal firefight becomes a retreating maneuver toward the pier at the end of Nebold Street. Travis's boys cover their eyes, but they make aggressive progress toward the kids with their terrifying M80s.
I've been waiting all summer to run into you, Denbro.
Leave us alone, Bowers. I don't want anyone to get seriously hurt.
Hurt? When I'm done with you, you'll wish you were in that storm drain with your brother.
Exterior, Nebold Street Pier continuous. They regroup at the mouth of the pier, water on both sides, Bowers in front. He throws another M80, which tears into a wood plank. Splinters shoot everywhere.
Will, we need cover.
The house. It's our only chance.
Ben points to the Nebold Street house on stilts over the black water, an imploded condemned structure that slopes like a man's half-eaten face. Eddie is instantly horrified.
I don't think that's a good idea.
When do you ever think anything is a good idea?
Okay, Ben, we'll hold him off while we can. You and Stan see if you can find a way in.
Covering them, Mike, Richie, and Will continue to fire off what fireworks they have left. Bowers' boys light off another barrage of M80s. I guess this is the rock fight. Will, armed with the plank bats, one back like a baseball. Boom! It explodes at Victor's feet. Ben quickly runs toward the house, followed by Stan, Bev, Eddie, stuck in the middle, goes after them down the pier. Exterior, Nebold Street house continuous. Ben and Stan split up, looking for a way in. All windows and doors are boarded up or locked.
Really, guys, there has to be another option.
You want to swim?
I'm serious. This house.
Shut up, Eddie.
And then, as if by magic or by Pennywise, one of the 2x4s that cover a window to the basement slips to the ground. Exterior, Nebold Street Pier night. Will finds the backpack empty as Mike shoots off the last bottle rocket. Will picks up some rocks as ammo. Mike and Richie instinctively follow suit. No, here it is. He nails Moose in the forehead, drawing blood. Oh, yeah. Travis and the others stop dead, incredulous, as rocks pelt them. Will looks back. He can't see any of his friends who are on the other side of the house.
But guys, hurry!
Exterior, Nebold Street house night. Ben and Beverly look at the window into the blackened hole, then at each other ominously.
Rock, paper, scissors.
I'll go.
Not wanting to be one-upped by Stan, Ben pushes out of the way.
No, I'll go.
You go, Ben. Exterior, Nebold Street Pier night. The fight is getting desperate. Both Will and Mike bleed from rock hits. Will and Richie and Mike see Bev waving them to come. They run for their lives toward the house, Travis and his goons on their heels. Exterior, Nebold Street house night. Will, Richie, and Mike round their corner of the house. Will looks down at the pier, no one. Then they hear Ben.
Down here.
I'm gonna kill you, losers. I swear I'm gonna kill you all.
Will sees a broomstick wave in the opening, beckoning them to come in.
Go, go, go.
Mike and Richie slip in, lowering themselves onto the floor, littered with crates and boxes. Will last in just Stezo. Travis and his buddies round the house. Moose walks right by the window they slipped into, but doesn't seem to see it.
Where are they?
Victor and Snatch look at Travis for direction. Unmoved, Travis walks around the boarded up house looking for a way in. Interior Nebo Street house basement. The kids catch their breath. The basement is a derelict and creepy undercarriage to a canal lockhouse. A huge coal engine bulked in the shadows, and next to it, an old coal bin and the stone channel that leads directly to the canal and water.
If we die here, I just want to say that fight was friggin' awesome.
Richie does a little pistol shoot with his hands to Ben and mouths, "Awesome." Ben smiles.
We shouldn't be in here.
Will watches Travis and his boys walk past the basement window again. Ben looks to Beverly. Sees some gravel in her leg like a buckshot.
You okay?
It's just a scrape.
Exterior Nebo Street house. Travis is getting frustrated. He can't find where or how the kids have gotten into the house. He looks straight at the window the kids crawled through. The 2x4 is still somehow attached from the outside. Interior Nebo Street house basement. The kids can see Travis staring straight at them through the window. The 2x4 is non-existent, as if Pennywise preventing the boys outside from seeing in or entering.
They can't see the window?
We shouldn't be here.
Don't count your chickens.
Something's wrong with your friend here?
We shouldn't be here.
He's afraid of dirt.
Will covers Eddie's mouth as he continues to yell, "We shouldn't be here." They watch anxiously as Travis and the boys' feet each inch comfortably. Stops. Exterior Nebo
Busted.
Street house, same. Frustrated, Travis and the boys get the fuck out of Dodge. Interior Nebo Street house basement. The kids are surrounded Eddie.
What is it, Eddie?
There's something I didn't tell you guys.
What?
This house, I saw something here once. I thought it was just my mind playing tricks, but no, I know.
They sense what he is about to say isn't going to be good.
I saw it.
Jesus.
Why do you keep using our teams, bro?
What?
What does he mean by it?
Will looks to the gang. They all nod. He turns back to their newest member.
Something's wrong with Derry. Haunting it, hunting and killing kids. We've all seen it.
Mike looks at them all, judging their earnestness, feels he can trust them, an instant connection with people whose fear clings to your own.
I know. I've seen it too.
Just then, the house seems to shiver, as if its foundation had shifted. A clanking sound resonates from the pipes. Water begins to seep in through the cracks in the basement.
What exactly did you see here, Eddie?
Ben goes to the window they came through, but instead of seeing out, it's now covered by the 2x4.
Guys,
He looks at their feet. They all do. Water coming in fast. Ben bangs a coal stalker against the boarded window. Rock solid. Will looks for a way out. The stairs.
Stairs.
Suddenly they hear footsteps above. They look up as dust falls from one side of the roof, slowly making its way to directly over them to the stairs. Will grabs onto Beverly's hand. She holds onto his with equal vigor. Richie holds onto Eddie. Ben holds the stalker like a sword. Mike grabs a shovel. They lead the way up the stairs. Unless otherwise noted, they only whisper now. The others ignore him. Follow Ben and Mike up the stairs. Richie looks around him in the scary basement. The fern is hulking in the corner like a being with eyes. The water surrounds his shoes. He runs up after his friends. Interior Nebo Street house night, first floor. A door opens in the middle of the kind of creepy hallway you don't want to find yourself in ever. Scummy yellow water stained wallpaper peeling like dead skin from walls. Sconces hanging from their sockets, and detritus is built up on the wooden floorboards. No footprints anywhere. Ben sticks his head out. He looks left, nothing. He looks right, nothing. Directly in front of him, through a dark parlor, is the front door. As Ben disappears into the stairs again, the door closes, revealing Pennywise the Clown at the far end of the hallway. Interior Nebo Street house basement stairs. Ben still has his hand on the doorknob.
Front door is right there.
Will nods. Interior Nebo Street house, first floor. Pennywise is gone. The kids all file out, sticking close to the filthy walls. They dart into the dark parlor for the door, followed last by Richie. The room seems to extend and last longer than anticipated. Finally, they get to the door. Ben tries it, nailed shut.
Guys, look.
Everyone turns and sees hundreds of crows perched atop the railing of the main staircase and in the rafters above.
There must be a window open.
Will reads his mind. An upstairs window might be their only chance to freedom.
Come on.
Will leads the way upstairs. Interior Nebo Street house, second floor. The children, petrified, slide up the stairs as silently as possible, trying not to disturb the watching crows or alert whatever else is there. The stairs creak and snap loudly. They get to a second floor hallway, the wind from an open window blowing trash around. Will looks around. Interior Nebo Street house, second floor bedroom. He beckons them into a bedroom with an open window. They step over a moldy bare mattress shoved against the wall. Beverly is the first one out of the window, then Stan, then Richie, then Ben. Ben looks back and sees Eddie standing by the doorway to the hallway.
Eddie, what are you doing?
Eddie turns toward them, realizing he must have lost consciousness for a second. Doesn't understand why he was standing there. He walks toward the window when the floor gives away and Eddie, teetering on the edge, turns, about to fall in, but a hand reaches out and grabs him, pulls him upright. Eddie is relieved, until he looks down at the hand holding him, oozing with open sores, and we pan up to reveal it's the hand of the hobo.
Hi, Ed.
Eddie faints, falls through the hole to the kitchen below. Interior Nebo Street house, first floor kitchen. If the house weren't spooky enough, this room is the spookiest. A bunch of furniture is gathered in the middle of the room covered in sheets. A dusty old refrigerator stands in the corner. Dust everywhere begins to clear from Eddie's fall. He is knocked out. His arm is clearly broken. Interior Nebo Street house, second floor. Will, Mike, and Ben rush back into the house.
Eddie!
Will runs around the gaping hole in the floor and tries to run down the stairs when the flock of crows attack. Will covers his eyes as the birds prevent him from going down. Mike and Ben shore themselves behind him. Exterior Nebo Street house, second floor bedroom. The other kids scream from the window.
What's happening?
Whatever it is, we don't want to go back in there.
You have to do something. Follow me.
Beverly leads Richie and Stan down to the edge of the roof. Interior Nebo Street house, second floor. Will, Mike, and Ben are being pelted by the birds still. They retreat back into the bedroom and shut the door. Interior Nebo Street house, first floor kitchen. Eddie, coming back to consciousness, looks around the room. He moans in pain.
Guys,
From the hole above, Will and Ben appear.
Eddie,
get me out of here.
it's right. We can't get downstairs.
What do you mean you can't get down the stairs?
Eddie looks around the creepy room at the sheets. Something horrible could be under any one of them.
Do you see anything you could use to climb out?
I think I broke my arm.
He holds it up, and the lower part of his arm hangs irregularly. Behind him, the old refrigerator shakes. Something inside. Exterior Nebo Street house, second floor bedroom night. It's 15 feet sheer drop above the dilapidated pier. Rich is too scared to jump.
I don't know, Richie.
Got a better idea?
Glass breaks and crows storm out of a window behind them. Startled, they all lose their footing and fall crashing down onto the pile of rope below. Interior Nebo Street house, first floor kitchen. Eddie looks to the shaking fridge. Blood oozes out of it and starts to cover the floor. Inching toward him, Eddie backs away, horrified.
Will, help me.
Interior Nebo Street house, second floor bedroom. Will sees the blood, looks to Ben and Mike.
What do we do?
We can't leave him alone down there.
Mike looks to the old moldy mattress. Interior Nebo Street house, first floor kitchen. Eddie hops onto the rocking chair as the whole floor is coated with blood.
Hurry, guys.
The fridge door starts to yawn open. Eddie curls in a ball and closes his eyes. Inside is Pennywise, all curled up. He uncurls himself like a coiled snake, holding a balloon on a string. It drags him, floating just above the bloody floor, across the room toward Eddie.
Open your eyes, Eddie Bear. I brought you some Cracker Jack.
Go away.
Away? But I just got here. And we're going to have so much fun, you and me. Now open those peepers.
No.
Come on, Eddie Bear. Don't you want to see the show? You're the main event.
Eddie does. Pennywise is over him now, his teeth like razors, his clawed hands reaching out for Eddie's neck.
Time to float.
Interior Nebo Street, second floor. Mike lifts up the mattress and sees a decomposed corpse of some child underneath it. He screams, falling backwards toward Will and Ben. Interior Nebo Street house, kitchen. Suddenly, all three of them fall onto Pennywise, smacking onto the floor, blood splattering the walls, impact cushioned by Pennywise's body. They instantly fall to the side. Will, Mike, and Ben look over to see what broke their fall. A just as startled Pennywise, writhing in anger.
Oh, fuck.
Eddie scurries away from Pennywise, who bares his fangs at Will. Just then, the board from the window breaks off to Richie, Stan, and Beverly. He fires a bottle rocket at Pennywise's face, exploding right into his eye. The clown reels back, howling. Richie and Ben jump in and grab Eddie. Pennywise pulls the rocket out of his burned socket and growls at the boys, morphing into an orange gas that shoots back into the fridge. Eddie, Ben, Richie climb to safety through the window, while Will watches from the window frame Pennywise's escape. Exterior, Eddie Kasprack's house. Moments later, Mrs. Kasprack is placing Eddie in the front seat of their family car. He is delirious with pain.
You all did this.
She slams the door shut, hurting Eddie on the inside. The kids are all too spooked to talk coherently.
You know how delicate he is.
We were attacked, Mrs. K. Travis Bowers and his
Stop
buddies.
it. Just stop it. If it weren't for you boys and that little tramp, they'd have nothing against my Eddie Bear. Oh, where are my keys?
She's nearly in tears, searching for her purse. She dumps it out on the ground. Prescription bottles, used Kleenexes, food, deflated balloons, gets on her knees and picks through it.
Eddie's done with you kids. You hear?
She gets up when she finds the car key. Speaking with such vitriolic focus, she seems possessed.
Don't come around here again. You don't deserve him. You're reckless, churlish little boys. This is why your little brother died, William, because you are a loser, a reckless loser. God help me if I were one of your parents.
She gets in the car and screeches away down to the hospital. They all watch the car disappear down the street.
Well, that went well.
This is all crazy. Who are you guys anyway?
The only losers in town.
who know what's going on.
Welcome to the club, kid.
They half-heartedly pat Mike on the back. Cut to interior Ben's house, bedroom day.
Gary's not just haunted, it's cursed.
Just like my pa was trying to warn me the night I met you guys.
That clown, whatever it is, has been around Derry doing nasty things for a long, long time. The Black Spot Fire, the Bradley Gang Massacre, all the way back to the first settlers who disappeared.
And unless we do something, it's never gonna stop.
What do you mean us, Will? We're just kids.
He's got a plan.
We heard it at Neibold. That's got to mean something.
Everything dies.
Richie looks at Mike, rolls his eyes.
We can kill it.
Okay, Schwarzenegger twins, simmer down. We can't even free Eddie from mom jail, let alone take down some freaky shapeshifter with a mild mel on all adults of Derry. However, I do believe we could sell this story to Tales from the Crypt.
No, this is far too whack for Tales.
I don't want to see it again, ever.
I don't think that's a choice, Stan. It knows we know. We heard it. It's going to want to hurt us back.
It's only a matter of time one of us is found half-eaten in the barrens. Or worse.
This is too much for Stan. He grabs his backpack.
I needed to study for my bar mitzvah.
Stan goes. All the kids look at each other.
He's just scared.
We're all scared. That's what it feeds off of. I heard the clown tell Eddie as much. Our only defense is to stick together.
Yeah, well, the only time I've been spooked is when I'm with you jokers. I'm thinking I might be safer at home. At least I know my parents won't try to kill me.
Richie goes too, leaving just the four. Cut to title card over the Penobscot River, August. Tilt down to the overhead shot of what we expect to be the Derry 1989, but instead we see nothing. Just the intersection of a stream and river and the surrounding wilderness towering black pines as far as the eye can see. This is Derry in 1637. Interior wellhouse night, Abigail 19 rushes in and slams the door, as if trying to keep Satan himself out. She clutches her baby to her breast, kneels by dying embers in the hearth. She blows on them, but a flame never catches. Her baby starts to fuss.
Hush now. Shh. It'll be.
She stops, realizing that the small candle chandelier slowly spins above her, as if some unnatural force has caused its light to rotate around the room, like a tiny primitive searchlight. She hears something slithering in the gray shadows by the well. Occasionally, we catch glimpses of a black silhouette shifting its shape, as if trying to decide on a form.
Please, devil. Let us be.
The shape shifts again. A beam of light passes, revealing Pennywise, naked, with flesh pile and translucent. A half-formed imitation of a human opens its maw full of large, razor-sharp teeth, dripping with saliva. As the tin can spins clockwise, Pennywise moves counter around the room each time the light hits his face. It's different. A man, a woman, a beast, a monster.
You mistake me, woman. No mere devil. I'm the eater of worlds.
But my child, not my child. He's innocent.
So you say.
The baby screams. Pennywise smiles.
Beautiful fear.
I pray thee, take me.
Abigail shuffles back.
I will, and then him, and thy husband, and the rest of thy children, and all the savages who brought you here. And when you all rot in the earth, I will pick thy bones dry until no meat is left to pick. And then I will seek out thy bones and consume thy souls until nothing is left but the weeds. Or you will occupy yourself otherwise and not interfere. I will take her, and you will live, and those of any other children in whom I take no interest, and you will thank me. Fever and frost did not damn you to the soil.
Abigail looks down at her baby again. She's shaking, doesn't want to let go. Behind her, the door opens. A little boy, 6.
Mama?
No, out now.
Frightened by his mother, the boy runs. Abigail turns back to Pennywise. Wherever he may be now in the room, the light somehow seems to spin faster now. She kisses her baby and sets it down. It bawls.
Sorry. I'm so sorry.
She turns away from the baby, faces those dying embers. We keep on her face as they seem to begin glowing brighter as over her shoulder, out of focus. Pennywise crawls over to the baby and starts to feast. Sharp cry from the baby cut off as we hear a crunch. Abigail continues to look into the bright orange flow of not flickering fire, but the dead lights, her expression changing, fear, denial, grief, acceptance, then nothing, just a glazed look, as if nothing horrific is actually happening behind her. Cut to exterior corner of Witcham and Jackson. Day. Will sits on the curb across from the storm drain that killed Georgie. His eyes burn with anger. He stares into the dark void, half expecting Pennywise's face to appear at any moment.
Come on, clown. Show your ugly face. I'll show another firecracker in it for Georgie. Blow your whole stupid head off. Send you back to wherever a creeper like you comes from. Where are you?
He listens for a response. Nothing. Just the bubbling sound of water rushing toward the sewer. Water. But something dawns on Will. Exterior, old ironworks day. Will bikes over to the edge of the hulking old structure. He clocks the river flowing just beyond. Hundreds of black ravens. The same birds from Nebo. Ravens or crows. Watch him from perches all along the skeletal structure. Exterior, Baron's day. Will tramps down to the spot where he found the shoe. He looks back down the stream, water trickling out of the sewer pipe into the Barrens. The water, something watches him from inside the cylinder of the pipe. Exterior, Nebo Street, day. Will bikes up to the mouth of the pier, the house suspended over the canal. Its imploded facade seemed to gape back at Will. Water again. In Will's mind, it all comes together. Oh yeah, it all comes together. Exterior, Eddie Kasprak's house, day. Eddie and his mom sit on the couch and watch soaps. Oh, poor kid. Eddie plays with a loose thread of his cast, twisting it in his fingers. Not a friend's signature anywhere. Suddenly, his walkie-talkie from the high shelf over the TV.
Eddie, you there?
Mrs. Kasprak looks at her son, eyebrows raised.
I thought I took the batteries out of that thing.
Eddie shakes his head as if to say he doesn't know. She points for him to get it.
Eddie, look, I know.
He grabs the walkie, holds it tenderly in his hands.
Turn it off.
He complies. Bang, bang, bang. They both look at the door. Interior, Eddie Kasprak's house, front door. Mrs. Kasprak angrily swings open the door. A surprised Dr. Handor, Eddie's general practitioner, is on the porch there.
Oh, Dr. Handor, you gave me a fright.
She spots Will over his shoulder, straddling his bike in the middle of the street.
Come on in.
They step inside. Will pockets his walkie and goes. Interior, Eddie's house, Eddie's bedroom, day. Dr. Handor checks Eddie's cast.
How you feeling, son? Any pain?
No, Feels fine, I guess.
Kept the cast pretty clean, I see. Didn't you want any of your friends to sign it?
I'm not allowed to see them.
Why not?
My mom thinks they're the reason I got hurt. She says I'm sensitive and they don't take care of me like she does.
Dr. Handor wants to say something here, but hesitates.
She means your allergies, is that it?
Yeah. My mom says I should always carry my EpiPen with me in case I ever have an episode.
Mother knows best. Is that it?
This mother. Eddie shrugs. Dr. Handor smiles, considering his next thought. He leans in, too close for comfort for Eddie. For a moment, it's creepy.
Eddie, do you know what a placebo is?
Oh. Exterior Travis Bauer's backyard day. A bottle of Southern Comfort sits on a log. Blam! Bauer shoots at it with his dad's police issue 45. Victor and Snatch look on, giggling. He finally tags it, the bottle shattering into 1,000 pieces. They all whoop and holler.
Can I try?
He reaches for the gun. Bauer pushes him back.
Sure. Go put the next target out there.
Travis points to the cat that's lounging there in the grass. You motherfucker.
You fooling, right?
Do I look like I'm fooling numbnuts?
Snatch grabs the kitty and runs out to the stump. He wipes away the glass and sets the cat down. He starts to meow and tries to get away.
It's not staying.
Bauer lines up a shot sight at the barrel on the cat.
Hold it there, butt cheese.
What the hell is this?
Officer Bauer steps from his officer cruiser in the driveway, his face as red as fire.
Nothing, Pa, just cleaning your gun like you asked.
Cleaning my gun, huh?
He stalks up and grabs the gun from Travis, smells it. Whap! He smacks Travis hard in the face. Fuck yeah. Knocking the big boy to the grass.
Normally I use a rod and cleaner, not bullets and whiskey. You two punks put your sticky little fingers on my firearm there? No, sir.
Butch turns the gun on Travis and points it at his feet.
You're not worth a salt you lick, boy. I don't know how I let you squirm your way out of your mama's womb.
Pa, I'm...
Blam! He shoots the ground around Travis's feet. Travis squeals like a girl, utterly terrified. Blam! Blam! The large wet stain spreads around his crotch. Butch Bowers raises the pistol as if he were about to whip Travis, who falls to the ground. Butch shakes his head.
Look at him now, boys. Nothing like a little fear to make a paper man crumble. Clean your drawers before you come inside.
He spits out in his disgust, stalks inside. Victor and Snatch tiptoe over to Travis, not knowing what to say or do. Travis does everything he can not to cry.
You okay, Travis?
An old wind stirs through the grass there, a yellow, menacing gathering of clouds overhead. Travis suddenly notices a balloon bobbing over his mailbox, string connected to something stuffed inside. Travis pushes past his two cronies and goes over to the mailbox. Inside, he pulls out a knife, the one he lost at the beginning, and attached to the string a note to Mr. Travis Bowers from Mr. Robert Gray. A murderous look screws onto Travis's face as he turns his attention to this house and his paw inside. He snaps the string and starts toward the front door with the knife. The balloon floats into the darkening sky. Interior coroner's office day, a thunderclap outside. The coroner steps out of the door. Will and Mike slip in behind him while propping open the door with his walkie.
Patrick was in one of the lockers. All the water bubbled up from there.
The drain. Will goes to it, gazes down into the blackness.
The sewers.
What?
It. Whenever it shows up, there's always water around. The storm drain where Georgie died, the leak in my room, Beverly's sink.
My dad saw it near water too, the canal.
Look, I'll bet if you trace every terrible event in Derry, you'll find the same thing. Water. With the Pensacola River on one side and the Candusset Canal cutting through, it's impossible to escape.
Unless you live way out in the sticks like I do. We have to tell the others.
A pair of yellow eyes glow from the drain. Interior Beverly's apartment day. Beverly, all gussied up in a pretty white dress, heads for the door. A hand snatches out from behind and seizes her arm.
Where do you think you're going, girl?
My friend's party. I told you.
You're all prettied up. Who you all prettied up for?
No one.
He shoves her against the wall, eyes her little body up and down, caresses her hair.
Don't lie to me, Bevy. You know why I worry about you. I worry a lot.
I know, Daddy.
People in town seeing you. Exact same things. Like how my little girl been sneaking around all summer long with a pack of boys. Only girl to the pack.
They're my friends, Daddy.
He squeezes her cheeks with one hand, holding her head in place.
You sure about that, Bevy?
I swear, they're just friends.
Friends? I know what's in them boys' minds when they look at you, Bevy. I know all too well. They want to do bad things. Did you let them do bad things to you?
He looms over her. Something in his manner is detached, like he's there but isn't there.
I'm a good girl, Daddy. Good, just like you raised me.
Is that so? Then what's this?
Pulls out Ben's haiku poem.
Where'd you?
You had it squirreled away in your underwear drawer. Why would you want to hide it with your underwear, Bevy? What else are you holding out from me?
It's nothing, Daddy. It's just a poem.
Your hair's winter fire, January embers. My heart burns there too.
He grabs her by the hair and pulls her up to him.
Sounds lusty to me. Who wrote it? Which one of your boyfriends?
I told you I don't have one.
Don't lie to me.
He drags her down the hall by the hair.
Daddy, stop. You're hurting me.
You're a woman now. You bled. What other womanly things you've been doing down in the deep, dark woods with those boys, Bevy?
Throws her into his bedroom.
Nothing. Please, Daddy. You don't have to worry. I promise. Please.
Let's see then. Prove to me you've been good.
She doesn't know what he means.
Take off your tights.
What?
I love you, Bevy. You're special. You're such a pretty girl. But there's plenty of boys happy to ruin a pretty girl. Plenty of pretty girls willing to be ruined. I need to know if you're intact.
Oh, God. He unbuckles his belt, but he doesn't look at her like he wants to whip her. There's another hunger in his eyes.
Your tights, girl. Take them off.
Daddy, please.
He slides off his belt and grabs her, smiling, a smile that feels a little too reminiscent of a clown.
You'll like it, Bevy. Be like you're floating.
Bev kicks him in the balls. Her father lets go, crumbling down. She knees him in the face as hard as she can, his head flying back into the side of the door. Beverly tries to race out of the door, but he snatches her ankle and she trips into the hallway. By the time she is up, he is lunging toward her. She stumbles back into the bathroom and shuts the door, trying to lock herself inside. He kicks the door open before the lock catches. Without thinking, Bev grabs the toilet top and smashes it on her dad's face. He slumps down unconscious. You better stay down. She rushes out, then uses a chair propped up against the knob to shut him in the bathroom. Terrified, she races out the front door. Interior Eddie's house, day. Eddie stands in front of his mom, eyes blazing.
Placebo? Who told you that? Dr. Handor? He has no right to say you're making up your sickness.
Not me, Mama. You.
What?
You said I was never allergic until you made me start carrying around my EpiPen. You put those allergies in my head.
That's a lie, Eddie, a bold-faced lie. You're my treasure. The only thing I want in this world is to see you safe and healthy.
Then why did you send my friends away?
They were bad boys. You know that. You were so sick when you were little. So very sick. It hurt me so much. I never want to see you go through that again. But I've kept you healthy, haven't I?
You lied to me, Mama. You've been giving me medicine that's not really medicine.
Eddie Bear,
This-
please.
This is what's going to happen now.
He pulls out his EpiPen and throws it in the trash. Mrs. Kasprak gasps.
Out that door, and you won't stop me. I'm going to my friend Stan's bar mitzvah, and when I come home, you're never going to tell me how weak or sick or delicate I am ever again.
Thunder crackles outside. Exterior Derry streets day. Will and Mike tear through the howling rain on their bikes. They almost collide into Beverly, who comes dashing around the corner.
Bev, you okay?
No, I'm not.
She looks over her shoulder, terrified and wet and shivering.
What happened, Bowers?
No, my daddy, he.
What? What did he do, Beverly?
She looks at both of them, tears running down her face, her pretty dress soaked in the rain.
I don't know. I don't know if it was him or
What?
I think it was there controlling him. I don't know. I can't go back. Well, I don't know.
She starts to cry on Will's shoulder. Will looks at Mike. They both look up at the convulsive yellow sky. Something big is about to happen, and they both know it. Interior synagogue day with torrential downpour outside, leaking water drips from the ceiling onto the crowd below, who was cheerfully employed umbrellas indoor to deal with the nuisance. Stan is giving a nervous but otherwise successful reading of the Torah, Baruch Hu Adonai Baruch, despite the howling wind and end of days vibe. Richie and Ben sit in the back in their little jackets.
Way to make an entry, Eddie Bear. That was not the right line.
This storm is crazy, like the sky is gonna fall.
Slam! Everyone looks back toward the door, blown open by the wind, and at Eddie, who sheepishly was trying to slip in. Stan smiles at his friend, pleased he's out of mom jail. The cantor gives him a nudge and continues reading. Eddie slides in meekly next to Richie and Ben, checking his clip-on bow tie.
Way to make an entry, Eddie Bear.
To escape.
Guess I'm not as weak as I thought.
Interior Travis Bowers' house day. The front door creaks open. Victor and Snatch poking their heads in, both soaked to the bone.
Travis? Yes.
Mr. Bowers?
Nothing. They see a streak of blood on the floor that leads to the kitchen, and Butch Bowers on the floor in a red pool, stabbed dozens of times. The knife left in his eye.
Holy shit.
Victor vomits. The cat slips in and starts licking up the blood.
Travis, dude, you okay?
That's your reaction? Wow. Snatch continues on into the living room where he finds Travis sitting in Butch's favorite lazy boy in front of the TV, which is turned on to Pennywise the Clown Show. He holds the .45, all slicked in blood, his eyes glazed.
It's my gun now.
Oh, caution. Interior synagogue day. The reading is over, and the crowd starts to gather to leave for the reception. Ben, Richie, and Eddie are all huddled together outside with Will, Mike, and Bev, who just arrived.
What do you mean your dad attacked you?
He had this look like someone was pushing him to do it.
Not someone. It.
Eddie, thinking about his mother.
Sorry. You guys, if it can take over Beverly's parents. Why not the rest of ours?
I can't go back there, guys. He'll kill me. Or worse.
This sinks in for everyone. There's only one thing.
Will knows where to find it.
What do you mean?
Sewers. Look, me and Mike figured it out. That's how it gets around. That's where it lives.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. You don't really mean that we're
If it means protecting Beverly, count me in.
Feel bad. Beverly looks at Ben, consistently impressed, just like me, by his defense of her.
Wait, count you in for what?
The sewers. We go in. All of us.
and friggin' do what? In this storm?
Get rid of it before it gets rid of us. One by one. It doesn't know what to do when all of us are together. You have to believe me.
Interior exterior synagogue day. Stan shakes hands with his aunts and uncles near the front door. I bet they're pinching his cheeks too. The wind whips up the women's dresses and unhinges umbrellas. Will and the gang run to him and whisk him out.
Hey guys, how'd I do?
I hope your schlong grew because you're gonna need it.
What do you mean?
Well, come on.
The storm picks up force, wind blowing umbrellas inside out, and from the hands of guests trudging back to the parking lot, one goes trembling across the garden and into the black boiling river and sinks into the dark water. Interior Zach Dumbro's workshop day. Will and the gang arrive like their own hurricane in the dark cellar workshop, whipping around the room and picking up objects. Will unfurls a map on his dad's work table. The other kids stock up on whatever armor or weapons they can find. A crossbow, hockey pads, a hubcap as shield, a sledgehammer, a hockey stick shaved into a stake, a satchel full of car flares, hairspray. Stan is still processing what's going on. Mixed with their formal wear of the event, they look mildly ridiculous.
Hold on. How are we?
Richie hands Stan the Ash Williams chainsaw.
Happy bar mitzvah, Jason. Bet you didn't put this sucker on your gift list.
Someone pounds at the door.
Will, what are you doing in there? Open up.
Everyone looks at Will. He folds up the map into a backpack.
We need to protect each other, Stan. The sound of us is all we have. Together, it can't hurt us. I promise.
How do you know?
We're knocking.
Willie, now, we need to talk.
Will steps up to Stan.
I have faith. Just like you.
Stan looks to the others. Everyone's scared but ready for battle. Stan steals himself, owning up his chainsaw. The door shakes with Zach behind it.
Damn it, Will.
Will opens up the back window and the kids slip out. Exterior old ironworks day. The losers, all 7 of them, stand on the threshold of the ironworks cellar hold, the very same one Patrick Hochstetler died in. A yawning chasm of mud, pools of water, and hulking, shattered old boilers. The rain and wind howls, lightning cracking overheard. Will points to a huge sewer pipe that just out of the muck.
This is our only way into Derry's original sewer system before it got sealed off and modernized.
Bing! A bullet sparks off an iron post next to Will's head. Travis, Snatch, and Victor stand at the crest of the road leading to the factory. Travis has his dad's gun aimed like Dirty Harry at them. He pops one on. He pops another round off.
Oh, fuck.
Will grabs Bev's hand, who grabs Ben's, who grabs Eddie's, and on down the line. They follow Will around the cellar and hold on to a giant conveyor belt toppled against the edge. They scale down into the chasm, bullets pinging around them. Click, click, click. Runs out of ammo. Oh, honey. He throws the gun away and pulls out the bloody knife.
Man, this is where Hochsteller went missing.
No way I'm going down there.
Travis glares at Snatch, Pennywise appearing near the boy in a flash of lightning. Travis lunges with the knife and plunges it into Snatch's tummy. Victor watches in terror.
Still have second thoughts?
Victor shakes his head no. Snatch stumbles back and plunges into the darkness of the cellar hold. More food for Pennywise. Interior cellar hold, same. Smack! Snatch's lifeless body slams into the muck right in front of Will and the others.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Don't look back.
They dart into the blackness of a huge rusty pipe. Travis turns back to Victor, a dull craze in his eyes. He gestures to the conveyor. The kids climb down.
After you.
Interior sewer tunnels day. The losers follow Will, who uses his dad's map to lead them deeper and deeper into the sewers, which roar and chime with rushing water. They turn a corner and come to a dead end. The stream of water seems to disappear under the stone wall there. Everyone is terrified.
Now what?
Guys.
He shines his light on something in the corner.
There's supposed to be a tunnel here. It's the last tunnel that's shown on the map.
It's a shoe. Eddie comes over to it.
Dorsey's other shoe.
Stan sweeps his flashlight up the wall. What he finds makes Richie spring back.
Guys?
Sprawled in blood on the stones like the chamber secrets is a warning. Stop now or I'll kill you all. Word to the wise from Pennywise.
Pennywise?
Shit. It has a name.
Footsteps echo from behind them.
Keep moving.
Stan finds a loose stone.
Here, Will, over here.
They all kick at the stones, which give way to interior store tunnels day. Travis and Victor race down the tunnels after them. They turn the corner and come to the dead end, a pile of stones kicked out from a black hole. Travis kneels down and looks into it. He can see Will and the gang's flashlights.
I see you, losers.
Interior black hole day. Will and the others slosh on their hands and knees down the hole, with roots and bursting through its stone ribs. It grows narrower and narrower to the point of complete and utter claustrophobia. Mike looks past Ben and sees two shadowy figures crawling toward them.
Hurry!
Will, leading them, comes to a small corkscrew in a tangle of roots, blocking them. They all have to wrench their way around. Ben, the last of the group, gets stuck.
No, guys.
Travis bears down his knife, clenched to his teeth.
I'm gonna carve you up, tits. I'm gonna stick this blade right up your asshole and split you in two. Feed your ass fat to the friggin' pigs.
God, a terrifier. He starts squealing like a pig. Ben is freaked. Two pair of hands grab Ben's arms and yank hard. He wrenches through the corkscrew and stumbles onto interior membranous chamber day. A thin membrane floats over the water, very delicate, almost skin-like. Underneath, thousands of spiders swim. Ew. Nest and rip. Oh God, no. He can actually feel their legs push against the underside of the layer.
Oh my God.
Don't jiggle it too much, whatever you do.
We don't want to tear it.
Ben freezes. The spiders, knowing he's there and gathering under his butt. Oh my God. Devin, Stan, Eddie, and Mike look on from solid ground onto the other side of the membrane.
Take off your shoes. You'll be fine. Just move real slow.
Ben, Mike, Will take off their sneaks and crawl across the membrane with great care. Spiders gather wherever they press a knee or hand. Spider hunt! And the whole thing sloshing like a waterbed. Interior black hole day. Travis and Victor get to the corkscrew pass. There's no way Travis, huge compared to the other kids, will fit through.
No. Fuck!
We'll never fit. We gotta go back.
Travis grabs Victor by the scruff of the neck. A crooked, bloodthirsty look flashes across his ugly face.
I need to hear them squeal. You'll fit.
He puts the knife into Victor's hand and points to keep going. For a split second, Victor thinks about stabbing him. Do it! But he's too scared. He squeezes his rangy frame through the roots into interior chamber day. Victor flops out onto the membrane just as Ben, Will, and Mike join the others on firm ground.
Hurry.
Victor sees them. He's freaked.
No, guys, wait. Please, Travis has gone insane. I'm not trying to hurt you. Just take me with you.
Everyone goes to Will, who sees something on the membrane that gives him pause.
Victor?
He was pointing. Beverly follows his eyes to the knife in Victor's hand, which has punctured the membrane.
Oh no.
Oh, God. Spiders spill out onto the membrane surface.
Oh, God. Oh, God.
He freaks, spiders jumping on him, his motion only ripping the membrane more. It finally tears, and Victor plunges beneath the membrane, spiders devouring him. Oh, my God. And Victor screaming in agony as they fill his mouth. Oh, horrified, Will and the others run for their lives. Oh, God. God, they didn't do this. Interior, black hole day. Travis hears the screaming, enjoying it.
Good. That's good, Vic. Kill him. Kill them all.
Suddenly, spiders start spilling out from behind the roots of the corkscrew. Travis screams and kicks them away, but more calm, freaked, he retreats back to the sewer tunnels. Interior, it's cavern day. Will, Ben, Bev, Mike, Eddie, Stan, and Richie stumble from the dark into a massive soaring subterranean pantheon-like hall. A sewer water streaming past their feet. In the center of the floor is a massive oculus, open to what appears to be the edge of infinite space. The water from the sewers flows down into the 7 channels around this opening at 7 waterfalls that fall upwards into a reflecting pool that covers much of the ceiling, surrounding a stone island with a crypt-type structure. The whole cavern seems to be lit from within, a sickly, pulsing ambient light coming from everywhere and nowhere.
Something tells me we're not in Derry anymore.
You think?
Will heads toward the edge of the oculus where the waterfalls stream up.
Don't get too close to the edge, Will.
It's up there, isn't it? That's where it sleeps.
Pointing at the reflecting pool.
You mean Pennywise?
It doesn't matter what it calls himself. What matters is it's afraid to show us what it really is, which means we can beat it.
Will sees Beverly over by one of the waterfalls.
So I'm going first again.
Wait, Beverly, wait!
She jumps onto the waterfall and it sweeps her up to the ceiling. Will and the others swap holy shit looks, then jumps in after her, then Will and Stan. Richie looks to Eddie, who has the same terrified look as at the quarry. He holds out his hand.
Still afraid of a little gray water?
You still wear diapers at night?
Oh, 100%.
Eddie grabs Richie's hand and they jump into the waterfall together. They are swept up into the reflecting pool in the ceiling, continuous, plunging into the pool with the others. For a moment, they all flap and kick under the water, unsure which way is up. Then Bev grabs them both and pulls them to the surface. They're upside down now. Upside down for Richie. The oculus opening to space below them. Gravity seeming to work by its own rules in here.
We all here?
Richie looks back where they just fell from.
Mind equals blown right now.
The camera flips around and the world rights itself. The oculus now above. The pool, which seemed small before, is now enormous, like a dark brooding lake. The crypt island very far from them.
This is nothing like what it looked like from below.
It's in our head. All the stuff we see. It's like the allergies my mom said I had. We make it real.
We do or it?
Guys, the island. Let's swim.
They splash toward the crypt island. Ben is the first to feel something brush past his leg, a replay of the quarry.
Not funny, Richie.
He looks back and sees no one. Richie is a couple of lights back to his left.
What?
Ben suddenly realizes Bev also feels something on her foot.
Water. There's something in the water with us.
Suddenly, a wormy tentacle extends from the water behind Mike. Will sees it and whacks it away with his baseball bat.
Hurry!
Kids hustle it freestyle across the pool for the island. We pull back wide to see a monstrously big, faintly outlined starfish-like creature with an orange glowing eye lurking in the depths of the reflecting pool. Will, then Bev, then Richie dodge a tentacle with all get to the island. Stan is not far behind, with Mike, Eddie, and Ben taking the rear, swatting back more tentacles. From understand, the orange eye appears. The dark water around him suddenly aglow. He looks down into it and becomes clear the eye is really a mouth, and the orange is coming from deep inside its bowels, the deadlights. Stan looks directly into them and is mesmerized so much that he stops swimming.
Stan, what are you doing?
Paralyzed, Stan starts to sink toward the deadlights when Mike, shielding his eyes, grabs Stan and swims back to the surface. All the kids give cover with their weapons, shooting flares, swinging the sledgehammer, impaling with the stake, using the hubcap as a shield so that Mike, helped by Ben and Eddie, can drag Stan onto the island.
Stan? Stan, are you okay?
Stan stares blankly ahead as if his mind was wiped blank.
Stan, it's us. You in there, buddy?
Another tentacle squirms out of the water toward them. Ben shoots it with a crossbow. It goes slithering back in.
Guys, I don't think this is the best place to hang out right now.
Stanley, snap out of it.
Stan blinks conscious. He looks at them all.
Where am I?
The worst and only bar mitzvah party you'll ever have.
They help Stan to his feet. Mike looks back over his shoulder for the monster.
Guys, the water thing, it's gone.
Indeed, the reflecting pool is placid as ice. Will looks back to the crypt. An obsidian stone heptagon shape structure the size of one of Mike's killing pens.
Maybe. Or it's just changing into something else.
What do you mean?
It's using our fears against us. It wants us to be afraid.
Because we'll taste better.
Isn't that supposed to rally us, Will?
We have to stick together to help each other against that kind of fear you only have when you're alone. All right?
They all nod and follow Will into the structure. Starry deep space through the oculus visible over their shoulders. They come to a child-sized trapdoor with an ancient cosmic marking. The only way in or out. Will puts his hand on the latch.
Ready?
The kids steel themselves, weapons ready. Mike hammers a clip into the stone and ties a rope to it. Nods all around. Will turns the latch. The door creaks open. Nothing but pure blackness inside. Mike throws down the rope. Will looks at Bev.
My turn.
Will takes a breath, drops in. Interior, it's crypt day. Will shimmies down about 5 feet of rope and lights a car flare, illuminating the chamber in a blood red pall. The walls inside are rough, like the surface of a meteor. Directly under the trapdoor is a fountain-like hole in the floor opening to the reflecting pool. Floating on the water is Georgie's paper boat. Pennywise emerges from the shadows behind Will, clinging to the wall, joints all turned and wrong, like a spider.
Welcome to the circus, Willie.
Slam! The trapdoor slams shut and slices the rope. Will falls to the floor, flare falling into the water. It dims but doesn't go out. It's near pitch black. Just Will and Pennywise. He can hear his friends banging on the door, calling for him, but can't see anything. They're scuffling all around him. Close. Will dives onto the water for the flare. Rises, sweeps it around. Nothing.
Not afraid of you, clown.
Your brother wasn't afraid either.
A pair of orange eyes glow above him. In the dark, Will can't see him.
Not until I chewed his little muscles up.
Will turns just in time for the eyes to recede into the black. The pounding on the trapdoor has stopped.
Guys?
Pennywise lunges from the ceiling.
Ah!
Will drops his bag of flares and scrambles off, tripping over the hole in the floor, legs sloshing in the pool. Glimpses of Pennywise scuffling in the dark like a spider. Will finds a corner, the flare running out of the spark. He waves it this way and that, illuminating the dark in front of him, swinging his baseball bat wildly at shadows.
Come out from the dark then. Come out from behind the stupid mask and show me what you really are. Come on!
Will looks at the last light of his flare, waiting for the end. He looks at the bat in his clutch only to see it's morphed into, got it, a boy's severed arm. He throws it away into the darkness. The flare goes out, pitch blackness.
Oh, I'd love to, Will. I'd just love to show you my deadlights. Only you wouldn't understand. And I need you to, Willie. I really, really need you to understand what's going to happen to you. What it means for a little kitty like you to float.
A light seems to emanate from the pool underneath them, illuminating the space, illuminating Pennywise standing in the corner. With Will sees all of it now, from his bare, crusty feet to his bald head. His claw-like hand is an emaciated acrobat-like body. He floats just a few inches over the stone floor. Will's eyes fall to the baseball bat halfway between them. He lunges for it, Pennywise knocking it away. The clown seizes his neck, smiles hungrily, bares his twisted fangs.
Sorry, Georgie.
Pennywise goes for the bite and thwack! An arrow shoots through its face. The injured clown recoils away. Bev flops out from the reflecting pool, followed by Ben, Richie, Stan, Eddie, and Mike.
Break into our homes, we break into yours.
Pennywise pulls the arrow from his bloody mouth.
Charge!
The losers attack Pennywise with everything they got. Mike with the crowbar, Stan with the chainsaw, Ben with a hubcap shield and a sledgehammer, Richie with his hockey stick stake, Eddie with a nail gun. Will grabs his bat and joins them. Pennywise tries to fend off this Lord of the Flies rebellion, becoming bigger, fiercer, more grotesque, but the kids are too much. Just when they have it bleeding and backed into a corner for the death blow.
Wait!
Will grabs Ben's sledgehammer. The creature that looks up at them isn't Pennywise, but Georgie.
Please, Willie. Please don't hurt me.
You're not Georgie.
I am. I'm in here, Willie. We all are. This is the place we float.
Will, it's a trick.
It's not your fault, Willie. Not your fault I'm stuck here. But you're hurting us all.
It's trying to get to you, Will. Kill it. Kill it now.
No, I have to think.
Mom and Dad, they should know. They should know that it's not your fault. I'll tell them. I'll tell them. As long as you don't hurt us anymore.
Finish him, Will, for all of us. For Georgie.
I'm taking this fucker out.
No. Sorry. Sorry I didn't go out there with you. I'm sorry I was sick.
It's okay, Willie. I know. Everything will be okay.
Will does the callback, and something in the way Georgie responds snaps Will out of his stupor. Georgie's gone.
Hairspray.
Bev
Beth
sprays.
sprays it through his lit fire, torching Georgie.
No, Willie.
Georgie reverts back to Pennywise, screaming horribly and lunging at the kids one last time. It finally gives up, slumping to the floor. A black, charred, clownish corpse. Richie touches the remains and they deflate, almost as if it was a balloon. The trapdoor above them blows away, as if it were sucked off by a cyclone, out of the oculus and into what looks like the stars of outer space.
Did we kill it?
Will isn't sure. He looks at the rest of them.
You did it, Will.
Bev hugs him, Ben watches enviously.
It's Miller time.
Suddenly, the gravity spell wears off, and the kids all fall to the ceiling of the stone crypt. Bev almost falls into the space, but caught by Ben just in time. Oh yeah, you were hero, Ben. The water from the waterfalls and from the reflecting pool all collapse back toward the floor, along with some of the stones in the crypt around them, which begins to crumble. At first, the losers hang on, afraid to fall, but eventually they lose grip and fall toward the oculus, which has begun to fill up with the water from the falls and reflecting pool. They all plunge safely into the new pool below, Will's foot kicking out the bottom of it into outer space from being pulled back by Stan.
I gotta get out of here.
Interior Dairy Sewers Day. The losers hurry their way out of the sewers, stormwater quickly rising around them. Will leads the way with a car flare. Exterior River Day. One of the kids shoots out of the storm pipe into the Penobscot River, just like Georgie's paper boat. They pop up like tops, blinking owlishly against the daylight. The sky is blue. The storm has passed. Exterior Riverbank Dusk. Will, Bev, Mike, Ben, Richie, Eddie, and Stan slump-soaked, shivering and exhausted on the embankment. Gary is in full view of the river, a red ball setting behind it. They gather themselves on the bank, breathing hard as the adrenaline of survival courses through their veins.
Now can we celebrate?
Will?
Will sees an object glitter in the sunlight. He picks it up, face sober and thoughtful, an old glass Coke bottle. He takes it by the neck, shatters it with the rock, and steps up to Stan, slashing his palm into his hand, slashing his palm with the shard. One by one, the others approach. Will, slashing everyone's palms, does his own last.
Swear, guys. Swear if it isn't dead, if it ever returns, we'll come back and fight it together.
They all clasp hands and lock eyes. A blood oath is sworn. Interior Travis Bowers' house dusk. Travis, hair now shock white, expression blank and broken, sits in his chair in front of the white fuzz of the TV. His father's corpse is still on the floor, blood matted everywhere, pounding on the front door. Exterior Travis Bowers' house night. Chief Barton and the other dairy cops march Travis out of the house in cuffs through a scene of police, news reporters, and a coroner carting out a body bag. Good riddance. Interior hospital corridor night. Mike races past nurses and doctors, a swell of optimism building with every stride. He turns the corner into interior hospital room night. Leroy's bed is empty. His mom is packing up his dad's things. She looks up, tears in her eyes. Mike is devastated.
But we beat it. We beat the cancer.
What are you talking about?
Dairy. The clown. It.
Mike's mom takes him into her arms.
He's in a better place, Mikey. I know it's hard to believe, but you have to. Remember what your father always said.
Exterior Hanlon Farm Day flashback. Leroy shows Mike a baby lamb freshly born from its mother's womb. See, son, everything has a cycle. Just when you think the world couldn't get any colder, something good always grows. Interior hospital room night. Mike holds his mother tight, remembering, tears rolling down his cheeks. Exterior Witcham and Jackson Street, sky over it day. As the camera pans away, we rise up over the intersection Georgie was killed, high over Dairy. until we come to a floating red balloon. It's the end.